You ready?
Oh yeah, let's go. Let's raw dog this episode like we raw dog life.
Raw dog this episode like we raw dog life. Welcome to the Shark and Joe Shark podcast with Dylan and Joe from the Dylan Joe Basement podcast. Today's episode's about sharks. That's Joe. Joe, say hi to everyone.
I'm about to take a bite out of this podcast because it's Shark Week at the Dylan Joe Basement podcast. Oh, Discovery Channel Shark Week's in summer. Not at the Dylan Joe Basement podcast. Shark Week is right now. It's hurricane season, baby. And the sharks, they're biting. There's chum in the water. And by chum, I mean podcast content. Thank you, Dylan.
Yeah, you're welcome. Welcome, everybody. If you're new to the podcast, we do this as much as we can. And we have a podcast sometimes about sharks, sometimes about stolen art. But today, we're going to bring you some pumpkin spice edition Shark Week.
Oh, yeah. It's the pumpkin spice season, and the sharks are thirsty. The sharks are wearing Ugg boots. They're wearing North Faces. Is that reference even so funny? I don't think people, but
is anyone old enough to listen to this actually to know what Ugg boots are?
They're a basic bitch. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, that's true. This is true. I was just wondering, like, I don't know, like maybe our demographic, like on my TikTok, most of my followers are around 14.
I think that's how statistics work. Yeah, like
content
if you have
that I post
on TikTok
goes right to the 14-year-olds For You pages. And most of, if all 13 to 15 likes on average that I get on any bullshit I make is going to some kid's mom's phone.
I love the idea of you showing up Garden Martian on a For You page. People are like, "This is for you," and it's you.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, is this for me? Like, yes, it is.
The USS Albacore was first laid down in Portsmouth Naval Shipyard in 1952.
Yeah, and just your beautiful mug winking at the camera. You're like,
yeah, the little boy in Kansas City has his mom's phone looking at this. Like, it's pretty much where I'm at.
Jesus. Yeah, no, it's a no-brainer. Really.
Yeah,
it's the DJBP, baby. We're back again.
Yeah, we're back again.
I don't actually know what episode number we're on, but who gives a fuck?
63 to 69.
It's in the range. It's in that range.
69 is going to be a good podcast.
Oh, man,
that's coming up. That's going to be funny. A lot of options. Yeah. So over the summer, there's been a lot of stuff going on in the ocean. There's been a monsoon of sharks in some locations, increasing frequency. And me and Joe are just here to let you guys know, whether you're driving, riding, shitting, pissing, banging away, that we're gonna let you know about a couple things about some sharks.
Yeah, I think we're talking all about sharks today. Do you want to start off by telling me and the audience what brought this up today? Because this was your idea, and as of many of your ideas, I'm going whole hog.
Yeah, what brought up is that I've decided as I get older and have different life insurance policies and stuff like that, that I've decided that I think I want to go by Shark Attack.
Really? I did not see that coming.
Yeah, it's really
much like a Shark Attack.
The only thing I can make peace with is that anything else is too traumatic. It's too sad.
Really?
Yeah, because this is funny mixed with pretty quick, and most people who have had a shark attack
the definition of a shark attack is a traumatic event.
It's the most traumatic event, but like I'm not down plane crash. I'm not down with car crash. I'm not down getting shot. I'm not down with like, the thing.
I would pick all with three of those.
Getting choked during sex. I'm not down with any of these things.
That last one maybe not, but I would pick all those three before I pick shark attack.
Car accident? You kidding me? Dude, those are horrible.
Oh, as long as it kills me, yes.
Well, dude, a shark attack, what happens is, okay, best case, you get your head bit off immediately. You ain't know. Second,
they never bite the head.
No, I know.
They always bite your limbs, and then you drown and bleed out while it tears you to smithereens. You're lucky if you drown first.
I know, but I know what bleeding out feels like to a certain extent because when I gave blood, I passed out. So, like
Right, but you were never under the assumption that you were going to die when that happened, right?
I mean, I sort of thought I was because my first time, but like I
Hey, we've all been there. Someone puts something in you, you start bleeding, and you think you're gonna die.
happens every now and then.
And then you wake up and they give you a cookie and they give you.
So I've had two
number.
parts of a shark attack. I have lost enough blood that my body responded and made me pass out, and I've also gone into shock from trauma when I broke my arm. So a combination of the two, you have no idea what's going on. All of a sudden, you're surfing, having a good time, and arguably the best place on earth is on a surfboard, and then you get hit by a shark, and the circle of life continues. And all
I
of a
think
sudden,
the absolute terror and the
you wouldn't know
helplessness that have to do with an animal attack. I mean, people who have survived shark attacks, bear attacks, lion attacks, they said, I've never been through something more terrifying in my life. And it was just the most visceral fear and panic I've ever felt in my life.
Yeah, so they survived though. So one, I didn't
right, but you didn't feel that when you're drawing, when they had your blood drawn, they gave you a cookie. You weren't being torn apart limb from limb by a wild animal who had no conscience.
No, but
you were surrounded by doctors. They were, I mean, nurses. Let's be honest, but they're there to make sure you're okay. Even if you were in bad shape, they're going to help you out. If you're in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean and there's a great white ripping your leg off, you're not going to be like, oh, wow, I'm in shock. Oh, this is crazy. I might just pass out and wake up and have a cookie. No, you're going to be in intense amounts of fear that it'll be hard for you ever to get rained on again without panic. I think you're underplaying an animal attack for how scary
I am, but I didn't say that I wanted to get killed by a bear, Joe. I said shark. Bear attack is not on my list. Okay. That is terrifying.
Shark attack, which is
exactly. So I saw a shark. I saw a video of a shark biting a guy's.
If I got stung by a jellyfish, I'd be panicking. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, because you didn't die. I saw a guy get his hand bit off by a shark, and that was because he was fishing and it cut up and it bit on and spun and just it
ripped his pinky off.
Oh, that's what it was.
He goes, lost my damn pinky. Lost my
blood
damn
everywhere. Pinky. It was crazy, But like if you get your leg bit, most people feel like they get a lot of pressure and they look back and like, oh shit,
Yeah,
awful. And they bleed out and die. So, but that just because I'm exposed to every time that I get out in the waves, I have to think that there are sharks. I check my apps every time I get out there, just for the major ones.
Shark Date.
There
are 10 sharks in your area that are hungry for a guy just like you.
Exactly. Yeah, well, that little ad on the top shows a picture of a real sexy shark.
The fin comes up.
Yeah. No, there's Sharktivity app, which is buoy based. Sharktivity has some sharks that have trackers on there, but mostly there's buoys with attached to YouTube, basically. So you have these apps, and it's like, oh hey, Charles the shark swam by here 47 times today, so he's around. And then because they know the sharks, and then there's another one called Shark Tracker, which is part of some conservation committee. App. And those are specifically tagged sharks, so have GPS on them. Yeah. And one of them that's in the area a lot that I gotta pay attention to. His name's Andromach, and he's like 55 years old, great white, fucking huge, and and he's up and down. He's in the Maine, New Hampshire, Massachusetts area frequently, Nova Scotia.
Oh, Andromach,
the shark,
was the wife of Hector from Greek mythology. So Andromach might be a female shark.
Oh, interesting. No, it says male. No, he's a male dude.
Oh, maybe named him.
Yeah, no fucking around there. Like I can pull it up right now. Yeah,
it's definitely Greek though. Oh no, it's also a play. No, but it's still about the wife.
Yeah, but like you can see, like there's Bob right there.
Bob. That's a good shark name.
Bob, and you can track him. Since he's been tagged, he's traveled almost 3,000 miles, and
those things get around.
He's 1,300 pounds, 13 feet long, and it tells it had the whole profile. Like Bob's named after our chief scientist, Dr. Bob Huter. Blah blah blah. Pretty cool. Good. So I check these things because like it happens. People get attacked by sharks surfing. It does happen. It
does. It's one of the most exciting things about sharks, that they try to kill people.
I appreciate that. Like you got to appreciate that. The world's too sterile and numb these days to know that. And then also one of my favorite things is that people all of a sudden there's like, oh, there was a shark reported in Nahant. Everyone's like, oh my God, are you kidding me? It's like, no, this is the ocean. This is
Yeah,
where
they live there.
they're fucking here. This is their shit. Everyone thinks they're sterile $4 million house on the water. It doesn't get exposed to things like this. It's like, no, there might literally be a seal on the rocks that just gets dragged in by its tail and eaten to death by a shark.
Yeah, people feel like if you had a house on the side of a mountain in the woods, you'd always think, hey, bears and lions are right here. And you should think the same thing for sharks in the ocean. I mean, they're right there.
Yeah, they're very much right there.
And then you get a lot closer before you notice too.
This is true. Yeah. So sharks are pretty crazy. So Joe, what is a shark? Let's start there with everyone.
I don't know if you have the definition pulled up, but
pretty much.
They're a fish, I know that, and they have sharp teeth. Ooh ha ha.
Yeah, they're a group of they're in the group of elasmobranch fish.
Oh yeah,
characterized by cartilaginous.
Yeah, they almost have zero bones.
They have no bones.
All cartilage.
They're all cartilage. And one way that if you think that the Earth's flat and sharks have bones, why are there no shark bones ever? But we find megalodon teeth because
I think the teeth
like the
and
pretty
their
much
spine
thing.
Are the two things that like are the most bone like. The teeth are covered in enamel, which preserves them, and their spines. I don't know if they have more calcium and like more bone structure to them, but the rest of their body, it's all cartilage, baby. Makes them all wiggly.
All baby.
If you don't know what cartilage is or like how soft it is, grab your ear, that's cartilage, and then grab the part of your nose right here. That's pretty hard. It's not bone though, but it's still hard. So cartilage doesn't have to be all floppy like an ear. It can also be hard like your nose. But if you ever looked at a skull, there's no nose.
Yeah.
Because cartilage is not bone.
Yeah. And you ever knew what swiping someone's credit card is?
I do. And I listened to the Shane Gillis.
Oh God, it's so funny. It's exactly that. You take your hand and you go right between someone's naked butt cheeks like this.
Yep.
That'll usually wake them up. But if that doesn't, so if someone's passed out or you need to wake them up and you don't have like ammonia or smelling salts, you can take your knuckles and rub it up along the
sternum
like that, and it hurts so fucking bad that they'll probably wake up.
Right. That has nothing to do with what we're talking about, but I like that.
Well, it's because it's cartilage, and if you
that's a bone. That's bones.
Your sternum?
Yes, your chest plate is certainly a bone.
Your sternum is cartilage.
Your sternum.
Yes, there's right in here.
There's an extra part above your chest plate that's not bone.
This is a joint from your xiphoid process up to about here is like a thin layer, so it can help expand, move your lungs because they're made of bones. So in between a lot of your rib cages are areas of cartilage. That's why it's able to move. Yeah. So specifically your sternum is cartilage. You can feel it.
That's why it hurts so bad when it gets in there.
Yeah, when you like do the credit card swipey thing on someone like that, like if I went up to you and just took my fist and just did this on there, like you'd be like, please.
You've done it to me before. It's incredibly painful, and I know you were taking it easy, but it's very painful. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't
know that was cartilage.
Yeah,
let me know. Yeah, I'm a fucking idiot. I thought. Yeah, I mean, obviously, but this part's not cartilage. The part above your.
No. You're good. No, just the middle.
Right there in the middle.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. I didn't know that.
Yeah. Like if you press on your xiphoid process, which is feels like a little top of a sriracha squirter right there. You can move it because it's attached to cartilage.
Oh God, I don't even want to think about that. It's so painful.
Yep.
Oof.
Yep. Yeah.
Pretty crazy. Cartilage, so it's in a lot of stuff.
Yeah, and sharks. So sharks are mostly just your nose, and then they have 5 to 7 gills on the sides of their head and pectoral fins that are not fused to their head.
Really, they're just floating around there.
Just floating around. And
the pectoral fin, is it the same as our body where it'd be like on your chest?
Pectoral.
I know a dorsal fin means it's on the back of your.
Yeah, good fucking point, dude. Like I've never seen a shark with a rudder on the front.
Yeah, well, maybe it's like it's like one of those things where it's like how whales have feet, but you can't see them because they're like inside their body. It's just like vestigial, ancient stuff that just carries on through evolution. Like it's just there, because a lot of the trackers they track through evolution, you're like, oh, this is the same as this one, like how they know how whales are mammals and how they came from, quadrupeds, even though whales don't have back feet. If you look at their skeleton, they still have little tiny foot bones where their feet would be in their ancient ancestors. So I wonder if sharks have that too. Like a fin that used to be there, millions and millions of years before they came around, and it's just kind of there around, like our tailbone. We don't have tails, but we still have tailbone.
That's weird. Yeah, I mean, it all depends on 450 million years ago, or when the aliens created sharks in a lab. And,
well, that's one of the facts I was definitely going to bring up, and I have to bring it up right now. I mean, that's amazing. 450 million years ago, dinosaurs went extinct about 67 million years ago. To give you a little bit of a gradient, which means the sharks
65. Doesn't matter.
Oh, maybe it's 65, but I think 65 is a little too round for me.
True. Good point. Yeah.
But sharks have been around before dinosaurs and after. They lived the whole way through that. And my fun fact about how old sharks are is that they're older than the rings of Saturn, which means that Saturn did not even have rings before sharks came around. Sharks, if they had a telescope, they could have seen Saturn with no rings. And they're old enough that they were around before bacteria evolved the ability to break down heavy woods, which means that as trees were forming, within the millions of years of the dinosaurs and all that good happy horse shit, there was no bacteria to break down any trees or anything like that. So when sharks first came on the scene, there wasn't trees, and then there was trees, and they never broke down. So whenever they died, they would fall down and just sit on the ground, and billions and billions of trees would just pile up on the earth, and they would never break down because there's no bacteria that could break down wood until
that's why whales had feet.
Exactly why whales have feet. And really why we have charcoal and things like that is that the depressurization of these carbon of these trees for millions of years without breaking them down. Because if you leave a tree out in the woods now, you won't see much of it after a year, and that's not enough tree left behind to make a fossil fuel. But if the pressure of it builds up over millions of years and just crushes itself down, then you get a little nugget of charcoal, you throw it in your grill, light it up. And that whole process, sharks are there at the beginning, middle, and end of it. So it's just insane how long they've been around. They are one of the most ancient animals on the entire planet. And not only are they that old, they're still killing it, literally and figuratively. They're still a major part of the world.
Absolutely slaying.
That's staying power.
Sharks could talk, man.
Yeah. They're older than dinosaurs. They're older than gators who are still around. They're old as shit.
Tree bacteria. So, yeah, sharks. What a concept.
They're still here now today. We're still fascinated with them.
Yeah, we sure are. So that was the Jurassic period. That is when they were first invented.
Oh, no, way before that. The Jurassic is about I don't know. That's like when it's like what 90 million years ago, 100 million years ago. They're part of
203 million years ago.
The Jurassic is 203.
203.
So they're from 450 though, right?
That is exactly what I said. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, there's a lot of sources, and who knows?
Yeah.
200, 400 million years ago, like the carbon date that.
And, they're from the Miocene.
And we didn't have trail cams back then. So,
true.
200, what's another 200 if you're estimating?
No, I get it. I just kind of shit on our point. We just said they're around before dinosaurs, the Jurassic, where already the Triassic came before that. So
all right, my most trusty
they're from the Miocene period.
Says Jurassic period, and then my other most trusty
they were
source,
there then. Sure, yeah.
Sharksinfo.com is telling me that they appeared in the late Ordovician period.
There you go, Ordovician. That sounds
450 million years ago. So,
I was looking at the Miocene, which is when the Megalodon came down, but yeah, the Ordovician, that's the one.
Into the Megalodon.
We will. But yeah, no, yeah. So they're before the dinosaurs. All the dinosaur shit happened in between sharks being invented by aliens and now.
Well, I mean, dude, let's be real for a second.
Let's be real.
How in the fuck does a shark show up from an amoeba?
Takes a long time.
I know it does, but dude,
I know you hate when I do the evolution stuff, but I think the evolution stuff is fascinating and cool, and you think it's annoying.
Fuck, do you get a goddamn shark out of that?
Well, we might talk about it today with the difference between early sharks and late sharks, or the megalodon and perhaps a shark that exists today.
Yeah.
No similarities. How do you always think of how does it get from nothing to a giant thing, but how does it get from a giant thing to a not so giant thing? Same exact fucking process.
Humans.
No. Evolution. Humans definitely help with it though.
It's a lot harder to hit a great white shark with a spear than it is to hit a megalodon.
That's for damn sure.
I'm telling you that right now.
That's for damn sure. But that won't make them evolve differently. But I definitely hear what you're saying.
Yeah. Yes. Well,
so yeah, what do you want to get started? I said a bunch of shark facts. Do you want to get it right into the Meg? Do you want to go into shark facts?
Let's do some shark facts. I kind of want to give the history. So we're somewhere between 450 million years ago, sharks were invented by aliens, according to Joe.
Yep.
And
at this time, there's still North and South America aren't connected. There's still a big gap in between those continents that all the sea life can just swim right through. There's a straight shot between the Atlantic and Pacific Ocean. You don't even have to go to the poles. You just go right through there.
Yeah, and sharks would just sit there and keep their mouth open and just swallow turtles. It's cool.
Just eat everything.
Yeah, and sharks are, we should make note that everyone knows that they're kind of endangered just because 70% of them have died since we've hit the earth. So that's
not good.
A bummer. So, don't be eating shark meat or shark fin soup. There's no point.
Yeah.
Stupid. And it's going to be properties. And the other thing is it's going to be high in mercury. The bigger the sea thing, the more mercury it gets because the more time it spends
I hope that,
filtering water.
That shark fin soup shit is fucking
bunch of
it's terrible
bullshit.
It's the same thing. It's everything. It's like killing wolves nowadays. It's like they're not gonna kill you.
Yeah, like what's the
like you're in no danger from sharks. You don't have to go out there and kill 100 sharks and bring them home like a trophy. Like they're not gonna get you. Like don't make a species go extinct because you're afraid of them or you want to eat them to make your dick hard or whatever you want to do. With rhino horn and shark fin soup, tigers, everyone just kills these big animals and just eats them to make their dick hard. It's like there's better ways. Have you ever heard of blue chew?
Yeah, blue chew. Exactly.
There you go. No animals need to be killed for that.
Viagra, totally. So
all the hits.
So one thing that's really interesting about shark. So let's go just break down. Let's do a nose to snout. I mean a snout to tail on the on the shark real quick because there are things that you're going to learn from this podcast, believe it or not. So one thing
we are listed as a science and history podcast.
This is the science and history podcast.
That's our shit.
This is science and history pumpkin spice episode for you guys.
That's right.
And we're here to tell you that shark teeth are not embedded in the jaw. They are embedded in the gums.
Yeah. And they have a little conveyor belt going, right? Mm-hmm. Where, like they have extra rows ready for later. Like, that's what humans could have. You wouldn't need a dentist. But since we don't have that, we need dentists, which sucks. But sharks just have this endless conveyor belt of, this amazing sharp teeth just always ready to rock over and over again. One falls out, pop a new one up.
Just like rows of just all of a sudden they get to the end of the layer and they just fall off in the ocean.
Next one comes up.
And now you get some cool necklace, so.
Yeah, exactly. You're welcome, as the sharks say.
Yeah. They're sharks are also just a tooth factory. Some say that they're actually producing.
Yes, sharks are teeth factories.
So they are giving back. They're not just consuming and shitting. They are actually giving teeth to the kids.
They're giving back with teeth.
They're giving back. So, dude, sometimes they even go through teeth every 8 to 10 days. That's how quickly they kind of go through this whole thing into a couple of months. Which is pretty cool, man.
I guess that makes sense though if you're evolutionary based on it. It's like making a ton of money. You spend it faster the more you make it. So if sharks are making teeth every 2 weeks, they can afford to lose it. Or our teeth, we got to hang on to that shit with 2 hands and get insurance and all kinds of metal put in our mouth just to keep them from falling out.
Yeah, exactly. Except for the cookie cutter shark, which instead of replacing tooth by tooth, they ditch them all at the same time and replace a whole row at a time.
Like throwing on dentures out. That's fucking
pretty much. Yeah. Except they come from the inside, not the outside.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. But imagine taking your whole upper row of teeth and just throwing it out and be like,
just going.
Next one comes in.
Yeah.
That is cool as hell.
Cookie cutter shark.
I never heard of that.
Yeah.
To pull a pic of that up for the pod for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. The cookie cutter was named after the shark. Yeah, no, after the shark, not the other way around. It wasn't like we Had the cookie cutter, and then
they named the cookie cutter after the shark. They're like,
Yes.
you know what, this device
This
is really
looks
like
like
that shark,
Yeah.
that cookie cutter shark. So I guess we'll just call this the cookie cutter
Shark came first.
in honor of the shark. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It has nothing to do with the purpose or intended use of a cookie cutter.
Yeah. And the tiger shark and bull shark both came before tigers and bulls. So really the shark should have all the OG names on there.
It does. They're like, what do we name this animal? We'll name it Tiger after Tiger Shark.
Yeah,
and
exactly. This cat is kind of like a tiger shark, so we'll call it Tiger Cat.
Tiger the cat. Yeah.
We'll call it Tiger Shark Cat, and then we shortened it to Tiger over time.
Yeah, makes sense to me.
It's less of a mouthful. Pun intended.
That's right. Yeah. Who would win in a fight? I know. Then they've got jaws, and we know we already went over their skeleton, the cartilage, that type of stuff, and then their jaws, not just including the teeth, are also not attached to the cranium.
Yeah.
How does that work?
I think they're just attached to the muscles, right, in the head.
Yeah. So when you think about a shark skeleton tooth, like when you go to the museum and it's like open and you can look at it, and
the jaw,
the jaws, it's like
floating.
It's basically like if I had a pillow and then the end of the pillow was like shark teeth, because it's attached to all the bullshit behind it. But it's not like us where it's integral into our bone
and us
structure.
it's right on the head. Yeah, but they have like an extra part in front of them where it's just the mouth part. Yeah, right.
Yeah, that's weird. So they're like this like rinky dink tube.
Well, really, we all are when it comes down to it.
I know. Well, we're like a bag of blood meat, but like they're like a tube.
Yeah.
Like that tube that at the Museum of Science that you can like
put your hand in.
It like moves around it, it's like jelly and sparkly.
And it has like stars and moons in it.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. They're like, the shark is basically that tube, and then you throw like components on top of it.
Yeah.
Like all of a sudden you put a teeth. Jaw on top of it, and then more tube in between the jaw, and then the teeth. Like there's just all these tubes of shit that hold a shark together, and it's amazing.
It does make a lot of sense though, biology wise, though, right? That you don't have to have the hard skull like all these land animals have, because when you're on land, you can fall down, bonk your head. People can hit you in the head through the air. They can, crack your head open, all this other stuff. In the ocean, not a lot of animals getting head bashed. Like just the amount of resistance in the water is between it. So even like, large marine mammals and stuff, they're lucky they have these big, thick skulls, because most fish don't have big, thick skulls, because if you're going to get hurt, it's going to be by ripping and tearing and cutting, not by bashing. There's very few fish, I would imagine, that, bonk another fish on the head and then knock it out, KO, like sharks don't need a heavy skull, because they're never in danger of something whacking them in the head hard enough to hurt their brain.
Yeah, except for the mantis shrimp. The mantis shrimp can shoot
that's the exception.
It doesn't bonk. It shoots a jet of water, like a laser beam that can like penetrate hard armor like a crab.
Yeah, that thing is a miracle of science. We should do a whole episode just on that. Like
I think we should.
Every stat, it's like Guinness Book of World Records, is mantis shrimp. Like the amount of force it generates by closing its claw and shooting that laser beam out is like as hot as the sun or some crazy shit like that. Unreal. It makes no sense at all. It's like that's an alien. That's definitely an alien.
Yeah, and we can see the rainbow. It can see all of it.
Its eyes can see every color, like H.P. Lovecraft, like colors outside of space and time and shit.
Like things that our brains can't even comprehend.
I don't think its brain can even comprehend it either, but it sees all of it.
Speaking of being made by aliens.
I mean, that's the most alien thing.
Wild, like interdimensional fucking being.
Yeah, the mantis.
Like it can see all dimensions, basically. So, so just part of the big old tube of jelly stars. We've got the teeth attached to some more jelly, attached to the tube, attached to the jaw. Then the fins, are on that tube.
There's some blood vessels and stitch squeezed in there.
Yeah, exactly. And there's components, the things, the fins to stabilize it in a straight line, tails to for propulsion.
Yeah,
and fear, and it talks about its dermal denticles. Joe, what are your denticles up to these days?
Well, let me check. Just where I left them.
Oh yeah, your denticles are nice and hard like they should be.
Yes. I
Nice
actually don't know what denticles are.
Well, if you can just give yourself,
I'll use the prefix of dent, thinking that they have to do with the teeth or a mouth, like daunt or dawn.
All right, so dermal gives it away.
Dermal meaning having to do with skin.
Yeah, so so unlike bony fish, Joe, sharks have a complex corset made of flexible collagenous fibers and arranged as a helical network surrounding their body.
Really?
So it's their skin, in other words. And it works as like an outer skeleton. So like in the movie Excalibur when he's wearing leather over his chainmail. It's
great,
kind of like that.
Yeah,
and
a little exoskeleton kind of deal, but not
pretty. Yeah, it's like it's good for like sword slashes, but not stabs as much.
Okay, yeah.
Because the surface area. And it also gives them some benefits aerodynamically or hydrodynamically when they swim. So, yeah, and that's a good way to put their skin because they didn't call it skin, so they just call it dermal denticles because it sounds like it's a bunch of components like scales, like a dragon, but not visible, not in the same way where they're overlapping. It's just like,
and also they're probably on a microscopic level. You can see what's actually going on there. But from out here, this looks like a big slippery slab of flesh.
Yeah. Yep. Exactly. And tails provide thrusts onto a new thing. A lot of different shapes. Like especially the most famous tail of any shark is going to be the thresher shark. You want to know why?
Why?
Because it's bottom half. Like if you're looking at a tail of an airplane, like if you're flying on JetBlue.
Oh, is this the V one that you're talking about?
Well, the bottom looks pretty normal, fishy, whatever it is, but the top goes and goes like so much so this way that it goes down. It's like the super aerodynamic like moon, but the top of the like a half moon, but the top of it like just gets thinner and thinner and thinner and thinner down to like a string. Really? And but it's because it just adds this like complex level of like fucking awesomeness because the thresher shark is vicious as shit. So it can use that to spin. It can, propulsion, spinning. So anytime you see like a shark with a fucking ridiculous tail, it's a thresher shark.
That's dope. I mean, obviously they're probably gotta be some of the best swimmers on the planet because they've had a lot of practice, 450 million years worth.
Yeah, I gotta say, if you're in the ocean community as one of the members of the ocean community, so fish, lobsters, shitty fish, sharks, whales, dolphins, porpoises, crabs, whatever it is, you don't want to be a shit fish, like a really ugly, like a shitty grouper. Yeah, you don't want to be one of them. Like top of the food chain is good, apex predator like a fish is good.
Yep.
It's somewhere in the middle is not great. Because they back to airplanes, which are very similar to sharks, is
dynamics.
I think it was Chuck Yeager, the first guy to break the sound barrier ever. General Charles Yeager.
And he invented the licorice liqueur from Germany. Is that the same guy?
Spelled differently. Yeager.
Yeah,
not J.A. Uber.
yeah. Well, I do know that Jaeger means hunter in German, and I'm sure that even the Y version is still base root. His great grandfather was a hunter. I know that.
Yes, true. I'm sure it is, and he was as well. He hunted Germans in airplanes and Nazis specifically. Hunter. But he always said if an airplane looks ugly, it'll fly ugly, and he's not wrong.
Yeah.
Sexy, sleek looking good airplanes move through the air well and they fly well.
That's funny because it doesn't work for people. Just because you look ugly doesn't mean you're gonna fuck ugly.
That's true. You look ugly, fuck hard. That's how it goes.
It's not true for airplanes or for fish, though, unfortunately.
Look ugly, bomb hard, maybe, but and bomb is a good thing in that department. Not you fucking bomb a stand-up improv. Different. So Chuck, yeah. So anyway, so like a fish like that looks ugly as fuck, but has like a defense mechanism. Obviously, the anglerfish with the fucking light bulb.
Yeah, they have to have actual.
But imagine if that
talents.
fucking thing didn't have a goddamn light bulb on it and didn't live 400 million miles under the ocean.
Well, the thing is, there was countless fish that were like that, but we'll never hear of them because their entire species went extinct, and they never got to see the light of day. They
like
survive.
A pointless, stupid. Slow, highly visible fish.
I mean, just through the mutations you see in humankind, that there's anglerfish that are born without those lanterns and they die fast. They do.
Yeah. Well, imagine you're like,
it's like being born without arms. If you're a human who lives in the modern world, you're okay. It's not, you're not okay. It's rough life, but like, you're not like living in the woods with no arms. You'll die. That's it. So there's plenty of fish that are born, like there's sharks that are born with like no fins. They just die. That's how it happens. So
yeah, but imagine this
anglerfish with no lanterns that are dying too every day. We just never get to see them.
Imagine you're like the energy of consciousness that enters your body before you're born, and you're like, oh man, I hope I'm born in England. Then you show up as like this shit fish. You're like, oh my god,
what did I do to deserve this?
Fuck, I'm on Earth. This is not good for me.
Kill me fast so I can get reset.
Yeah, so I can exactly. So I could exactly. Just like reincarnate into anything else.
That's got to be like born being a shark, where a lot of sharks in the womb, their embryos will actually attack each other. For example, I'm looking at here, the tiger shark pups will attack each other in the womb, and whatever one eats them all will be born. So that's a rough way to get started.
Wow, you don't even leave the gate.
You're not even born yet, but you're living and you will kill.
It's like a motocross race when the gates drop and they go out. It's like the thing that happens. Everyone fights first and kills each other, and then one guy goes. Like, man, that is rough. You have no experience at all. Zero.
I mean, you don't know anything about the world, but all you know is you must kill.
Yeah, time to kill everything inside. So
what a rough lesson. You cannot. Humans
we don't
know
even
what it's like.
No, we don't. But when you
have no idea.
When you blow a giant load in a chick,
which everyone's been known to do.
Everyone does this.
We're not alone here. People do it. I'm sure of it.
Yeah, or wherever you're blowing loads. So for the sake of things, it doesn't even matter at this point because. No. For the sake of this talk, that there's I learned this not reading about sharks, is that you have a bunch of different types of sperm, and there's like sperm that their goal is to get to the finish line, impregnate the egg, turn into a human.
Which we've had to believe that that's all of them. Wow, but that's just what we're told.
There's other ones that literally their job is to get in there and kill other guys' sperm, because when our people were first cavemen and fucking roaming around, everyone was getting fucked by everyone. It was like a big
I think it might have happened even before cavemen and
probably,
but I definitely
just all the time. It was just constantly like just everyone just like
that might be almost
killing each other and then like having sex with anything ever. So like there was never like, oh hey, we're in love and it's just the two of us. It's like no, like 45 cavemen have been in this chick already.
Dude, that would be so
your
funny.
Sperm comes in,
if that's how it goes. You're just like, all right, we're in love, and just one big tadpole comes out and book. That's the one. Here it goes.
Here it goes.
No, there's millions of them, right? It's insane.
I think billions. I don't know. Maybe let's say millions. I don't know.
I mean, definitely billions. Keep talking. I'm gonna look that.
The whole point is that now your mix of DNA is inside of there with like 10 other guys, and a good portion of yours is literally designed to just kill theirs, so yours can get to the finish line.
Yeah, that's insane. So, even in a microscopic level, before you're creating life, the competition's already started before even.
Oh yeah, exactly. So your little sock children, are are a lot more going on inside of that rock hard mess than you think. Yeah, there's a lot
and for the record,
a lot of fallen soldiers. Yeah, of different types. The whole military's there. Commanders.
It says on average 100 million per bagok.
Per tablespoon. That's pretty crazy.
So I think it probably varies, but 100 million is more people than have died in every war that's ever happened. So that's pretty good.
Pretty good.
Well, not everywhere, but you know what I'm saying.
So sharks
Oof.
eat
Sharks are just
shitty
like sperm.
fish, and they will go for the low-hanging fruit. So if you're going to be a fish, don't be a shit fish. At least give yourself a chance.
Nature is beautiful and it is awful. Nature is metal, as that Reddit goes.
But fish are so funny because like sometimes some four-legged animals can make it if they kind of suck, like a sloth, But like if you are in the middle of the ocean and you are somewhere between 500 feet and the surface, and there's sunlight, and you're a fish that's slow and fat and shaped like a Amazon box, and don't have any defense mechanisms, game over, lights out, buddy.
Before it even started.
Yeah, and
they didn't even ring the bell, and the match is already over.
It's not good. It's not a good place to be. It's just unforgiving by characteristics. You're fucked. Don't be that fish. So
I mean, that's where all life started, man. It's all in the ocean. They have the jump on everybody, even though they're super specialized, because that's where it got going. The land life match, the match you think of with the wolves and the chipmunks and the rhinos and the snakes and stuff, that all happened way after. The ocean had this shit going for hundreds and hundreds of million years before it even got on land, and they're like, this is how it goes in the ocean. I understand, we compete.
This is the ultimate playground. So
the ocean is the ultimate playground. Dylan Reed, the Dylan and Joe Baseball Podcast. You're first, folks.
You're first, guys.
And with that, I think we should take our first commercial break.
Yeah, exactly. It reminds me of peeing.
All these waves are really making my bladder itchy. All right, man. I'll be back.
Have you or a loved one ever suffered from financial hardship, from medical loans or student debt? I think I have an idea for you. Cash, a direct influx of capital, whether that be robbing a bank, a loan from a family member that you don't plan on paying back, deep credit card debt, a payday loan at 52%. I think all of these are excellent ideas for you in your current position. And this infomercial is brought to you by the Dylan and Joe Basement Podcast.
But sharks. Oh.
So I want to do more shark facts.
Back. Shark facts. Guys, we're back. Dylan Joe, Basement Podcast here. If you forgot what podcast you listen to, it's actually for sure the Dylan Joe Basement Podcast.
I love how it's still a vestige of podcasts. People have stopped doing it now, but like my first 5 years listening to podcasts to be like, welcome back. You're listening to this. It's like, yeah, we know. Because everyone's just been doing radio for years. You're like, this is Jammin' 94.5. It's like, yeah, I've been listening for an hour on my iPod.
Says it on the car. Yeah, exactly. So, but in case,
but we'll still do it though, because we're classic. We're old school style. We have commercials, we have bumpers, we have all the old school shit.
Yeah, we're old. So
we're old as fuck.
So that's worth listening to, because
we're back with the facts.
We ain't fucking hopping on trends and shit. We're just doing it. So
no, we're doing just the opposite.
Yeah, we're raw dogging it. That's what it's called.
Yeah.
The opposite of that is raw dog.
We're like a shark. We just follow the scent of blood, and we just don't think. We just go. We always keep moving. Blood.
Yeah, and always just keep moving. I was just following on the scent of blood. I feel like that's actually a bit more like the kids right now. They're just like going on whatever's cool. Like, no one said this podcast was cool. We don't know.
Yeah, you're right. That we do the opposite of that. Really, we're kind of like more like a crab or a lobster at the seafloor, just kind of like sitting there, just like doing whatever we want to do. And things will go by. We don't chase them like a barracuda. We sit there and we stew.
Yeah, we're just cool with our crab chicks and crab friends, and
we're just using our
crab
feelers,
sun.
just feeling around.
Yeah, crab food.
Yeah, we can live for like 150 years or some
crab drinks.
Shit.
Yeah, that's the goal, man. Like there's a lot of like, here for a good time, not a long time. I'm here for both, man. I'm pretty cool with all of it. Yeah. Here for a good time for a long time.
That's perfect.
Fine with me.
Here for a good time for a long time.
Yeah. And at 95 years old to get eaten by a shark, whatever. So
God willing, or Neptune willing.
Funny.
Absolutely funny.
My headstone will just be a shark because it's hilarious. You know, just traumatize everyone.
That'd be so great. You get eaten to death by a shark. Your headstone is the street sharks with the rollerblades. Just fucking.
Oh yeah, that'll be good. Real good. Street sharks.
I'll save that for Sharks in Media.
Yep. Yeah. Well, I think that they won't shoot us down.
Media.
Disney will shoot us down. They might not, but
I think they're owned by Fox, or now Disney owns Fox. So yeah, maybe they'll shut us down.
Shit, we're all fucked. So back to actual sharks, not street sharks. Unlike bony fish, which would be a anglerfish probably, if I had to take a wild guess. Sharks do not, because you guys knew this. This is why I'm just making sure that you know that sharks aren't like this.
Right.
It says unlike bony fish, which you obviously know, have gas-filled swim bladders for buoyancy.
Yeah, gas-filled swim bladders. Yeah,
you knew this. Everyone listening to this podcast probably knew that. That's how they stay buoyant.
It sounds like that's a lot of fish then.
Gas-filled swim bladders.
Probably like tuna and cod and haddock and stuff.
The tunas have fucking skeletons? I've never seen a tuna skeleton wash on the beach.
Yeah, you know how they debone fish, like when they fillet them and stuff, like it's all like getting the bones out and stuff.
Yes, but that was cartilage. No,
I don't know.
Have you ever eaten like
I don't really eat fish.
I eat a fucking ton of fish. Sometimes
I mean, think about like a cat in a cartoon. This is more on your speed of facts. I'll quote a cartoon.
They take the fish sardines, but that's fine, Joe.
They take the fish bone out and they play it like a xylophone.
Mm-hmm.
Those are not anglerfish. Those are like, fucking cod and stuff.
Fucking right? Bass. Yeah, I don't know.
Bass. Yeah, I think that probably most of the fish we're talking about nowadays, obviously, their ancestors might not be, but they're a lot of fish are newer than sharks are. Sharks have been around for way longer.
This is a good point.
I'm pretty sure a bass hasn't been around for 450 million years.
I know. We should ask the bass.
Bass the mouth.
I don't know. I mean, like, great episode.
Bass car.
Like, I eat sardines, I eat anchovies, I eat salmon, I eat tuna, I fucking, you name it, I'm eating it. So like sometimes you get fish, like you get smoked salmon or you get sardines or anchovies, whatever, and they've got these little tiny like needle bones in them. Yeah. But they're kind of bendy. I always thought they were cartilagey bones, but
that could be.
I don't fucking know, no God.
Yeah, I mean, maybe when they say fish bones, they just mean cartilage.
Yeah, like, yeah. So, but anyways, these people aren't saying that. They're saying bony fish, have gas-filled swim bladders for buoyancy, like much like a submarine does. Because air is gas. They fill, their ballast tanks with air to move their stern or bow up and down or the whole damn thing. So sharks rely on a large liver filled with oil that contains squalene in their cartilage, which is about half the density of bone. So their liver constitutes about 30% of their total body mass. That's fucking insane. 30%. And so they also use, clearly, like just like a submarine does, dynamic lift. So they use their their swimmies to move them up and down. And that's pretty crazy. And then sand tiger sharks store air in their stomachs, which also works as a swim bladder. And bottom dwelling sharks, like the nurse shark, have negative buoyancy, allowing them to rest on the ocean floor.
Negative buoyancy mean that you're always sinking. You have to fight not to.
Like a brick. Yeah,
like a brick. Yeah, bricks I think have negative buoyancy.
I would say so. But I did see this crazy video the other day of a steel anvil, like they're like 400 pounds.
Yeah,
floating on mercury. So if you have
that. That's amazing, right?
Yeah, because mercury. I can't comprehend this, but like steel is less dense than mercury.
It's all about the density, because if you're less dense than the substance you're on, you will float, even if you're metal.
Is that true though? Because like think of like a fucking Titanic or the aircraft carrier.
Right, but
On
you're
the
thinking
ocean-
about buoyancy is different on
I know, but
water,
it's
right.
so hard.
But
to-
if you could take an anvil and you could stretch it out within 1 inch instead of like the 3 foot thing,
right,
then
yeah,
it would float because you'd stretch out the surface area of it.
Mhm.
So if you have a super dense object and it's very small, you have to have a super dense substance to put it in to make it still float. But an aircraft carrier is way more dense than water, but because it's so stretched out and there's so
Mhm.
much air in the whole thing, it will still be able to float. That's like how you could float a skyscraper on the water, which is basically fucking, a cargo ship or an aircraft carrier or whatever. It makes no sense it could float. But if you put it all that weight into like, a car, it would sink fast. It would probably drill through the entire earth to be so dense. It's just you have to spread it out a shit ton to make it buoyant.
Yeah.
And an anvil, it's it's super not stretched out. It's all packed in. It's like a little like fucking cannonball. It is.
Yeah.
So you need mercury to float on it. But that shit is amazing.
Pretty
We'll
wild.
put that
Yeah,
video
crazy
up
stuff.
for the podcast because that's something. And I'm not gonna put the video up. Look it up, folks. That's not part of the podcast.
It's pretty cool.
It's very cool
exactly.
though.
Wicked cool. So we got a lot of things to cover before we get into the fun stuff like shark attacks and giant sharks.
That's right, folks.
So I don't want to get too much
Don't
detail.
get excited. Strap in.
Strap in, strap
Okay.
on. So yeah, plenty of things like buoyancy,
Shark dildo.
respiration, their gills and thermoregulation. They're cold-blooded, regulation.
Oh, they can sleep with their eyes open, as many fish can, because they don't have eyelids.
Yeah, pretty cool. Digestion can take a fucking long ass time. Food moves from the mouth to a J-shaped stomach, where
That's
it's
weird.
stored and digestive juices help.
Is that why when you cut them open, you can find like license plates in people's hands and stuff?
Well, that's one particular shark, most famously the tiger shark.
Yeah, they
Which
like to eat
can-
everything.
They just eat anything at all. They obviously have a fucking real serious sense of smell when it comes to blood. So,
Word.
which is called the olfactory senses, located somewhere in the nose. And
That's true for all living things.
Yep. And they're specifically, besides blood, very, very sensitive to the chemicals found in the intestines of most species.
Interesting.
So a lot of times they linger around like shit ducks and by the beach, like the sewers.
Yeah.
That human being
Oh shit,
sewers.
ducks. I thought you were talking about like a bird.
Shitty ducks, like a piece of shit duck.
yeah.
Yeah, no, like sewage outfalls.
Okay, yeah.
Yep.
Get the
And
goods.
their site's pretty fucking great, as you know.
I actually didn't know that until I researched today. I thought it was
Really?
because you always hear about their sense of smell.
Hmm.
They can smell 1 drop of blood in 10 trillion vials, but
Mhm.
like their eyesight's really good too. Because a lot of animals' eyesight's not that great. They mostly work on their smell. Like dogs' eyesight, most dogs' eyesight's kind of shit, and their sense
Yeah.
of smell is so good it makes up for it. But sharks,
Mhm.
it seems like they have both.
Yeah, they're pretty good. Like a micro study of 17 species of shark found that they had pretty much good eyesight.
I guess you have to too to discern. I mean, obviously in the ocean, there's not a lot of objects in between you and what's next to you. Like you're not gonna have like 100 trees in the ocean between you and them. But eyesight is not about objects in between. It's about how clear you can see between space. So
Mhm.
things like birds, their eyesight's so well that they can look between all the air and moisture and particles between you and them, which is why we can't see as far as we can, because the farther you get in the horizon, the more air there is between you and the object. And even though it looks like there's nothing there, when you compound that times 10,000, it starts to get blurry with all the moisture and the dust in the air. The better
Mhm.
eyesight you have, the more you can cut through that. And it seems like the same thing is true for the ocean. There's a lot more in between you and something else in the ocean because it's water, which is much more thick than air, and there's a lot more shit in it. So you have to have extra good eyesight to point out something in the water. I mean, look down in some of the best oceans that you can see. The clearest ones next to like islands in the Caribbean or whatever, you can see for 20, 30 feet. But look down in a Cape Cod in the water. You'll be lucky if you can see your feet. That shit's dense. So to have eyesight to be able to look through that takes some doing.
Takes some weird shit going on. Yeah, pretty wild. One thing that I think is a little strange about sharks is that, especially obviously the hammerhead shark, they're, like most predators are like us, where our eyes are straight forward. Theirs are on the
Yes.
side of their head.
Yeah, to an extreme degree, which means that they actually have, speaking of degrees, 360-degree vision because of where their eyes are set. They can see the back of themselves and the front of themselves at the same time. And the only downside of that is they look stupid as hell, but it really works out for them.
Yeah. That's wild.
Look, think about that evolution. Their entire body looks like a shark until you get to the eye part, where it just kept going out and out and out until they could see everything around them. And you think they couldn't see in front of them, but because of that, I mean, literally fish eye lens, they can see the front and the back. It's fucking cool as hell.
Weird, cool shark. Cool fucking shark, dude. Like,
I mean,
god damn, that's a cool.
As far as like alien design coolness, like hammerhead is the thing. Where like if you had only seen every other shark and someone's like, check this thing out, you'd be like, that's funny. You're like, no, it's real. Like, no, things don't look like that. You're like, no, it does.
No, it fucking does. And like, imagine like each of us is like its own type of shark. So like, say I'm a great white, and you're like, a lot of respect.
You're a great white. Okay.
Well, actually, I think I'm more a hammerhead, but like, but realistically, none of the above. But I'm just saying is that we're just picking one. Like, either you're a great white, or I'm a great white, or you're.
No, I think I'm more of a bull shark.
Bull shark.
You're a hammerhead.
Yeah. But the thing is, they all get so much respect. Like, if like all of a sudden like,
not respect, bro.
Well, like it's like, hey, that's a hammerhead over there. You're like, no, that's fucking, that dude's cool. Like, cool shit. Hammerhead gets some good publicity. That's a cool shark. Like,
oh yeah,
great white runs the show. Pretty cool stuff. Bull shark also is not trying to be a tiger shark. It's not trying to be a great white. It's not trying to be a fucking hammerhead. Bull shark is no bull. Like,
and they can live in fresh water too. They swim up the estuary.
Exactly. Right, so many stories of them being in fucking rivers, which is so weird. Talk about adaptability.
Adaptable.
Yeah, I wonder if they can live in pools in your backyard.
Probably. Who knows what chlorine does to them?
Nothing good, probably.
Nothing good, probably.
Yep. So sharks can hear between 20 and 1,000 hertz, which is pretty much where we're at. I mean, we're more than that, because we can hear outside of that spectrum a little bit. But 20 to 1,000 is pretty.
Yeah, but sound travels further underwater because
exactly. So it's about the same
medium to go through.
Yep.
Even that sharks have ears is insane to me, because you don't ever see any fish with ears, but fish all have ears.
Yeah.
Just like how birds have ears.
Yep. Just giant
like us mammals are the only ones that are like, we're going to have this ear thing that's in our head go out and be all floppy and big and weird. Where other animals are like, it's good right here inside my skull where it belongs.
Yeah. Just a giant hole's fine.
And we're like, no. Let's make it like a goofy, like, to bring it back to the ocean, like a conch shell, or conch if you're from the areas that pronounce it correctly. And I'm not from that, so I will continue to call it a conch thing.
Yeah. We're a bunch of white dudes from like the Europe gold area. So we'll say
it's a conch.
SpongeBob
and also SpongeBob taught me about it. Yeah, so that's what
it's right. The magic conch. So so here's what a lot of people know is that sharks have a first gill slit, and then from there forward, from the first of 5 to 7 gills, they have this whole area on their face that is much like a lot of people when they get embarrassed turns red. That whole fucking area on their face is called the spiracle, and it's a sensory set of like neurons that are specifically designed to pick up on electromagnetic fields. So
it's like an extra sense that we don't have as humans.
It is. So
I think birds have that too. They can pick up on the magnetic field that helps them migrate.
Definitely. But for sharks, it picks up on a real quick identification tool to figure out who's fucking prey. Because all of a sudden, if you see a shark and you panic, it's game over. If you see a shark and you swim at it, people don't know this, and don't sue us if you get eaten by a shark because you tried this. But if you're going to get attacked by a shark because you see a shark and you aggressively swim at it while looking at it directly in the eyes, it's probably not going to bite you because it thinks
you as a threat.
It's going to perceive you as, hey, that guy or gal is fucking one of us. We're not gonna eat it.
Yeah. I mean, think about everything that gets attacked by sharks. None of them are going to swim towards it.
Yeah.
So if you swim towards it, you're immediately confusing the shit out of it.
Mhm.
I mean, it reminds me, although this animal is much more intelligent, it's like when a mountain lion comes up and you run at it and go, "Rah," and scare the shit out of it. You're trying to show it that you're not prey. You are also a predator.
He'll
And even
fucking
though
eat you.
sharks aren't doing the math on that, and neither are, tuna fish. If they did know that, they would do it. Be like, oh, just swim it down. They'll never think about the fact that you're coming at them because they all do the calculations in their head. They go, oh, that's scary. I'm out of here. But what if you go right towards them? They're going to say, oh, what the hell? It's like when a kid stands up to their bully and they go, oh, I never know you could hit back.
Mm-hmm. It's exactly that. And the thing is, this is true. So there's a lot of stories of the cage divers who go in a fucking cage and there's, to go see the sharks. And
that's on a list of things I'm never gonna
I'm all set with that. And then photographers down in the ocean, whatever it is, and sharks will get aggressive with them and swim with them. And they usually the big move is look them directly in the eyes and swim with them. And they usually don't get bit. I'm sure that a lot of people are dead from this advice, but overall,
but I think that more than
for the most part, this is definitely a good tactic.
Of course. I mean, if either you could swim away, you're fucked, or swim towards them, you're probably not fucked. Go with that every time.
Yeah, and I think that maybe part of our merch should be like giant, scary eyeball glasses. Because I'm looking at myself right now in the picture,
the reflection of your sunglasses,
and it looks like my eyeballs are bigger. So to a prey or even a predator, it looks like I mean business because they don't know that this isn't my face. They're like, what kind of animal is that? It's going to eat me. Right. So maybe we could have this anti-shark attack glasses.
That could be cool. Or maybe they're goggles so that you can wear them underwater and swim around and stuff.
Also a good point is that we're underwater. So maybe they should be goggles, but they should look really scary.
Yes.
And then people will get attacked by sharks less. Because the big thing with surfers is like, I have multiple wetsuits. I'm wearing one right now, and some of them are. I have a blue and yellow one. I do have a black one, but I wear it only in the winter. And then I've got the summer one, which is by Slippery When Wet 80s brand.
Great name for a company.
SWW, and I bought it off eBay. It's actually 30 years old, and I bought it from eBay, and it was really funny because it came from Florida. I got a box to my house that said United Ammunition. And I was like,
ammo box.
Ammo box gets mailed to my house. And I was like, that's probably that. And sure enough, it was my wetsuit from Florida in an ammunition box. And it smelled like fucking cigs. So fucking
it's probably been in there since they did their last big run shredding the gnar out there.
Yeah, exactly. So electroreception, sharks can sense fear. So that's the majority of their like physical attributes that are attached to them, besides reproduction and being sexual and being asexual and brooding, all that stuff, like, because sharks are mammals, they have wieners.
They're not mammals, they're fish.
Sharks are fish, so they have wieners.
A lot of things have wieners that aren't mammals. Mammals, the main thing is the boobs. Let's not forget that.
Good
Literally,
call.
mammary glands is why they name things mammals, because
aren't
they have
dolphins mammals?
Yes.
And they don't have boobs.
They have milk, though.
Have you ever had their milk, Joe?
I wouldn't try it.
You wouldn't really try it, you sure?
Well, here's the two things that mammals, right? It's the boobs and the breathing air, which dolphins and whales both do. Even though they live underwater, they have to go up to the air and go and breathe the air. They cannot. They don't have gills.
Sharks aren't doing that. Yeah.
And also, mammals didn't exist 450 million years ago. They didn't. There wasn't a thing as mammals. They came later on.
So milk and air.
Milk and air. Yeah, I think that's the main two things. Yeah, I would definitely say. I mean, the brain function I would put in there, but not really, because there's some dumbass mammals out there. So I'd say milk and air is the main two things.
All right, milk and air defines a mammal. All right,
Yeah.
so just like in Finding Nemo, there's a bunch of eggs and a bunch of grass and underwater. And a shark
CNN
comes
to
and
me.
just sprays jizz all over them.
Yeah, the mammals don't do that.
Some do.
No, they don't. Mammals don't have eggs outside their bodies
No, I was
unless
saying
it's
just spraying
over.
jizz all over a bunch of eggs.
Oh, they
dude.
do that for sure,
Some
but
fucking
reproduction doesn't work that way.
There's
But
like
yeah, it is funny
freaks
if you
out
could,
there, dude.
if fish were
Yeah.
mammals, they would literally you take your eggs and put them on a table or maybe a nice pillow, and then the other one would spray it all over, and that's how fish. I mean, fish don't they don't really do the thing. They don't do the beast with two backs. They lay the eggs first, then the sperm comes after that. They don't really do the humping thing because they have to. The way they lay eggs is literally all the eggs that exist inside mammals' ovaries. They just spew them out in the ocean. They go, there you go. No need to get on top of my ass. Just they're over there. That's where all the goods are. So imagine getting horny for a pile of fish eggs. That's what fish do. They're not even horny for the fish. They're horny for the eggs.
That's weird.
Caviar.
I love eggs, man, but not like that.
I like that.
Yeah, that's so weird. So,
It's like as species went on and they got more and more like, why don't we keep these things in here and I'll just look after them inside my body and then I'll be fine. Or fish are like, leave them out there 10,000 miles away, splurge on them, then off you go. And then, reptiles and birds are like, all right, we'll do that first. Then we'll have the egg there and we'll watch the egg, we'll watch it. It's already fertilized. And mammals are like, fuck that. Just keep it inside the whole time. We won't take it out till it's ready. It could be bad.
What a goddamn work.
But I guess that sharks must do the inside thing because we are talking about how they eat each other in the womb. So they must have the inside embryo rather than like salmon or like lionfish or things like or clownfish, like you said, the clownfish inside the sea and
clownfish. Yeah. So there's a lot of different things they got going on. Some sharks like the cat sharks often mate with a male curling around the female. Sometimes they do this curly jizz spray thing, and then
that's great.
And then there's been a number of documented cases where a female shark who has not been in contact with a male shark has conceived a pup on her own through pathogenesis, meaning asexual.
Wow.
Yeah, not sure how that works.
Wow. I'm sure there's a lot of people in 2022 feverishly researching how that can be done.
Oh yeah. Oh fuck yeah, they are. Yeah.
Anything but adopting is the bottom line.
Exactly. Yep. That's it. Or some of those people, anything but a guy.
I saw. Oh my god. I saw fucking. It was on Reddit, obviously, but it was one of those like Craigslist ads, but it wasn't on Craigslist. It was like another site. And it was a woman saying like looking for, it was like a date seeking ad, looking for a male partner, no long-term relationship, like strictly fertility based. Like I'm going to paraphrase it. All I want you to do is come over, nut inside, leave, never associate with me again, pay for everything that has to do with it, all the medical stuff. Obviously child support, never come into contact with our child, never associate or claim the child, and then that's it.
Win-win for the guy. I mean, this is the best case scenario.
It's a lose-lose for the guy.
No, I know. I'm kidding. Yeah,
of course, yeah.
This sounds like the girl from.
Nathan, I mean, it's the idea to be like, well, I'm giving you all the good stuff the one night, and then obviously you're next 18 years you're on the hook, but I forbid you to accept this person as your child.
That's great.
It's insanity.
Dude,
but yeah, that's what it's like. It's like, yeah, just
it reminds me of in the rehearsal, like the girl that's just someone like her.
That's what she wanted. She was like, I don't want, because I can't get along with men.
I'm 44 and I just I haven't met the right guy. I was like, you think maybe it's you? No, I just haven't met the right guy yet. Okay.
Yeah.
But you want a kid? You still want kids? Yeah, of course. It's like, okay. All right.
It's the curse of being
delusional
a human, right?
psycho. That's cool. Yeah.
You're smart enough and you're socialized enough to not get along with people, but you still have that biological urge to reproduce.
Start getting it. Yep.
So, and I think it's also the social standard. You're like, I want to have a kid and have the whole thing. You're like, oh, this is little Charles, and but I don't want to have like an annoying man who lives with me who like has opinions about the kid and stuff. Like, I want to just have the kid, have enough money to support them, and just do that.
Yeah, not funny, but funny. But I don't know if you've seen Harold and Maude, but that's exactly what happens. If you are this girl and you go, I'm just gonna have this little kid and be like, oh, this is my boy, whatever. It's just like it
It's
turns
your
into
toy.
Harold from Harold and Maude, who fucking hates everything you stand for and
That's
wants
not how it works.
and eventually basically kills you. So
basically, you want to have a pet that you can
a pet that you think is a cat,
can, like,
it's
walk
cat
and
people.
talk. Yeah.
Fucking cat people do this.
Yeah,
You know, they
it's a
think it's
cat
me like
person
they're a
version of
cat.
having a kid. Like, I just want to
Mhm.
have a kid and not have any responsibility to actually like.
This is a
like,
human being that
yeah,
you
I
want to
just
make.
wanna,
You
like,
want
have
want
this
to.
thing.
It's a they put their all of their problems.
Yeah,
and
all my trauma and
they're
bullshit, just
immature.
shove
They're
into this
immature, and
thing.
they think that they're going to use them for love and hug me and love me.
Yeah.
When this is a human who probably fucking hates you and is the one who actually needs your support, not your. You know, you're not there. They're your crutch for your mental
It's
health
so funny.
because
I
you're
want to have a
40
kid
years
so I can
old.
take things from it.
Yeah.
It's like, no, you're supposed to give things to it, not take things from it. It's like, well, I need one because I need this shit in my life. It's like,
I
no.
need this.
If
yeah.
you need a kid in your life, the kid does not need you.
Yeah,
Like, that's
wrong
not
time
it.
to have a kid. Yeah,
Just
exactly.
ask a shark. It's no good.
Ask a shark because they they have 3 ways to bear their young, which is ovoviparity, which would be they hatch in the oviduct, which is within the mother's body, which is when they fight. So they
that's
can
when they
do
fight.
this.
Okay.
Yep, exactly. They don't have to do that though, but that's the eggs,
Some
yolk, and
species will
shit,
fight.
whatever it is. And there's an oviparity, which is they lay their fertilized eggs in the water, so they get fertilized sort of in
That's
them
what
or
I'm
something
thinking of for a lot of
after
fish do
the
that.
curling around. And then there's viviparity, which is the gestation of the young without the use of a traditional egg, and it kind of just looks like a fucking bag.
Oh, gross.
So just a bag with a like baby fish in it.
I think Kirsten told me about that. They call it a mermaid's purse, where it's just like this egg sack. Which she's like, oh, isn't that cool? I go, well, the name sounds way cooler than what it is, which is a disgusting pile of fish entrails and
fish bags.
And
yeah, exactly. That's funny.
Babies. Just disgusting. All around.
So
biology is gross as fuck.
Yeah, it is weird. So behavior-wise, sharks, you get it. The speed-wise, they can swim up to 31 miles an hour, which is pretty cool. And they can travel probably around 50 miles a day before having to fucking rest. They have a brain body to mass ratio that's similar with mammals and birds, and they're pretty cool. So sleep, that is a question, because you've seen those videos or pictures of like blue whales sleeping where they're sleeping vertical because they hold air at their nose or their buoyancy's up here, so they do this. So how do sharks sleep? Good question, Joe. All sharks need to keep water flowing over their gills in order for them to breathe.
Right. Yeah. So I think some fish have the ability to I think probably those ones that have the bladder, they can use their diaphragm to keep water moving through their gills when they're sleeping. But sharks don't have that. They need to use their muscles to force water through their gills. So how does sharks sleep then in that case?
Yeah. So that sharks sleep with their eyes open, like you said, and actively follow the movements. Okay, just in one case study said that while they're dead asleep, they follow the movements of divers around them.
That's interesting. I think it's that their brain shuts down and their motor functions still consist.
Exactly, their defense mechanism still is on. So, like species that don't need to swim constantly to breathe go through a process known as sleep swimming, in which the shark is essentially unconscious. It is known from experiments conducted on the spiny dogfish that its spinal cord, rather than its brain, coordinates swimming. So,
spiny dog can shut their brain down to sleep, but their body's still moving.
Yeah, so the spiny dogfish continue to swim while sleeping, and this also may be the case in larger shark species. And that's the best evidence they have so far. Is that in 2018 there was a video of a great white shark sleeping while swimming. So, like you said, their spinal cord goes into. They turn on autopilot and then they fall asleep and it just fucking does this.
Yeah.
But it's actually
I think that the same thing would happen with most species if we didn't have that chemical response in our bodies that paralyzes our bodies. And they also the response of waking up, like a lot of people who sleepwalk or
it's like funny things sleepwalking.
Yeah, it's like you can't say like, oh, how do you sleep if you're still moving? It's like even we do it. These sharks can do it too. Like your brain shuts down. You don't know what's going on, but your body's still fucking rocking and rolling. And it sounds like sharks do the same thing. And birds do it too. There's that bird that flies for, a fucking year straight, just falling asleep in the air, still flying. Like sleeping, it doesn't have to be that you have to curl up in a ball in a cave. You just your brain just has to shut down, so your body can still move.
Yeah,
you just don't know what the hell is going on.
It's funny though. It's fucking funny. Because like sleepwalking, what a weird thing, dude.
That would be weird for us too if we couldn't breathe without moving. You're just sleeping, just walking in a circle in your bedroom because you have to keep moving to breathe.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, dude. There's so many things about the programming of us that's like, if it was just a little bit different, I think we'd be like, this is really odd. Like, there's things that we do that are odd, but like.
I think it's just because we're used to it. We don't think it's odd. If
you
were like an alien, you'd be like, you guys do all this shit. It's fucking weird. Even sleeping, weird. It's like, yeah, that part of your life every single night where you have to stop being alive for real quick. Because if you don't do that, you'll be tired. It's like
you're unconscious. Yeah, exactly.
Because you can be tired from running and then you sit down for 2 hours and then you're like, okay, I'm not as tired as I was before. Like, why couldn't that just be your whole life? Just like every time you do stuff, just don't move for a while and you're good. It's like, no, you have to completely shut down. That's the deal.
Yeah. Yeah, imagine capitalism if we didn't have to sleep. I'm just saying, is that like our species is so terrible that we like focus on capitalism. Imagine if we couldn't sleep, it'd be a mess.
Oh man. Yeah, I mean, capitalism never sleeps.
Nope, it doesn't. So I'm just saying is that like our species needs to sleep, and it's a good thing because there's a bunch of monsters out there that are like, but the economy, like
they're eating those Panzer chocolates, right? Keeping wired 48 hours straight.
The rickets, or what they call them, it's meth.
Rickets is a disease.
No. Panzer chocolates are known as there's a name that's really catchy, like rickets. It's not rickets.
I feel like Panzer chocolates is a pretty catchy name for methamphetamine pills, right?
We've talked about this before on this podcast, and it's.
Is it a German word?
Meth chocolate. Yeah. No. Yeah, it is. It's called.
He's on Bing right now, folks.
Wait, you can see it?
No, you're not actually on Bing, are you? You better use Google.
I'm on Bing, dude.
That's hilarious. You don't care about learning shit.
Okay, so it's called Pervitin.
Okay, so yeah, you're completely right.
But Pervitin. So there's a brand of Pervitin called Panzer Chocolata.
That's not the brand. That's the slang name.
No.
It's like saying like Mommy's Little Helper and it's cocaine or Adderall. Like the brand isn't called Mommy's Little Helper.
Dude, all right. Here's a package called Zotter Panzer Chocolada mit Lockbeer und Pervitin. So that means with whatever Lock beer.
But it's named after the thing, right? It's named after the World War II use of this thing.
Dude,
they didn't have anything called Panzer Tank chocolates. And they were like, oh yeah, by the way, it's meth. No,
Panzer doesn't mean tank.
Well, what does it mean? The Panzer tank though, right?
Yeah, that's a type of tank. But
yeah, what's it mean?
Panzer in German it's not necessarily a tank quality. It's like the Panzer tank was like, there's the Tiger tank, which is named after the tiger.
Yeah.
Panzer tank is something else, but it's called Zotter Panzer Chocolate. So like,
yeah, but they named that after the World War II shit, right? They didn't name it.
It has a swastika on it, so. So just probably. But
I'm just saying they didn't call it Panzer chocolate, and then I guess we'll use this in a Panzer tank afterwards. No, the chicken and the egg situation was Panzer chocolate was the slang term for meth, and then they called it Panzer chocolate, and now in 2022 they call it Panzer chocolate because people know that means meth, right? I got to be on track with that, even though I know it's German.
Fuck, dude! Wow,
there's no way it was called Panzer chocolate 50 years before it was used in a tank. I
really did it good this time. So Panzer, believe it or not, actually means tank. I thought that was like they call Panzer tanks.
It's called a tank.
Exactly. I thought it was like Tiger tank.
Panzer. I was on board. I was like, that sounds right.
Literally means
tank.
Yeah.
Chocolate.
So
so it's like booger sugar. It's like, it wasn't called that. It used to be called booger sugar, and then people started snorting it. It's like, no. It's called that because people snort it, not because people are like, I guess I should do that.
Yeah. So
That's funny. What a
It's
good
funny.
tangent.
But anyways, there is a genuine bar of chocolate called Zotter Panzer Chocolata, and it has a swastika on it. And it
Wow.
says with Lor beer and Pervitin, and Pervitin is
Pervitin
meth.
is the
So
the
it's
amphetamine.
chocolate with meth in it.
Wow.
And it says Hermann Goering on it. So
okay, this
it literally
is a hate
has
crime.
all. I'm not making. Dude, you can look at this right now. Like type in Panzer
This
chocolate.
entire thing is a
this
hate
whole
crime.
thing. But I know,
That's
but
awful.
it has fucking Hermann Goering, who's the head of the SS, on it, and it's literally. This is the chocolate when they gave German tankers.
Yeah.
It literally had SS on it, and
Go
it basically
juice.
says it was from Hermann Goering, and
Wow.
it's not good. How did this come into Sharks?
That is crazy.
Where
Well, it's
did
because they never
Sharks-
have to sleep.
Oh, right. Yes, like German tankers and
Yeah,
fighter
you
pilots.
don't sleep. It's just like you keep going all the time.
So, but the name is Pervitin, and Pervitin is the name of the meth, and then the chocolate is called Panzer chocolate. So,
like I said, that's a slang. It's like mommy's little helper. That's like the nice way to put it. They don't go, here's your meth soldier. You go, oh, here's your chocolate, your tank chocolate.
Yeah, here's your Hermann Goering chocolate. You like dark chocolate? You're a Hermann Goering?
Not dark chocolate, white chocolate. Please.
Yeah, sorry. Exactly. I prefer white chocolate, which is Hermann Goering chocolate. Hermann Goering Panzer chocolate with the swastika on it. Kind of that place. That sounds like.
Yeah, the good stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. The real, like back, you guys used to like Coca-Cola, right? Like back when it was cool.
Yeah, Coca-Cola.
Yeah. You ever had Hermann Goering Panzer chocolate? Because that's when chocolate you like Coca-Cola, you're gonna love Hermann Goering Panzer chocolate.
Yeah.
You know it by
it
by the big giant bird with a swastika underneath its talons. That's the one.
That's the one. That's how you know
it's the real stuff.
It's the seal of approval.
Yeah, like when you take out a bar of Hershey's, it says Hershey's on. This one says Hermann Goering.
That's how you know it's the real
the commander of the fucking SS.
Police.
Hermann Goering was like, yeah. Well, Hermann Goering, he might have been the even worse, like the Gestapo. He's like Gestapo.
Yeah,
the worst of the worst humans that have ever lived in the history of Earth makes chocolate, and it's for you. Here you go. Have a good one. It'll make you really addicted to killing people.
Yeah. You want to have this cocktail? It's called the Ted Bundy.
Yeah, literally.
You're gonna feel so great after.
Yeah, you're gonna love it. You're gonna love drills. Yeah, drilling gay people's heads in after you have sex with them. It's really good.
Well, that's Dahmer, but yeah,
really good. Oh, who'd you say?
Bundy.
Oh fuck yeah. Sorry, I just got confused.
Same.
Dahmer's going on right now.
On the same bench.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, same.
They're part of the same dugout.
Same uniform, different.
Uniform.
Different position.
With an eagle holding the fucking.
What a time, humans, dude. Bunch of fucked up losers.
That's what we are. So speaking of all these
sharks,
I think we should talk about.
I think it's time.
The biggest boss shark to ever exist.
I couldn't fucking agree more, because the weird thing is that there's a lot of evidence that it's still around.
Yeah, just like the Loch Ness monster and Bigfoot.
The Loch Ness monster, yeah.
The lost monster.
The lost monster. So the biggest shark to ever live, in layman's term, is called the megalodon shark.
And what's it called in the scientific terms?
Off the top of my head, I have no fucking idea, because I'm stuck in Hermann Goering chocolate mode.
I feel like it's still called the megalodon.
I think like megalodon's like part 2. It's like a megalodon,
megalodon
sharkomosis. Yeah, exactly. So
okay, yeah. Because megalodon literally means big teeth.
Okay. All right. Just like Panzer chocolate means tank chocolate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or how Tyrannosaurus Rex means tyrant lizard king.
Didn't know that either. So
yeah, Saurus means lizard. That's why every Saurus dinosaur
Rex means king.
Lizard. Yeah. Oedipus Rex, still Greek play. Oedipus the king of Greece.
No way. Wow. That's not known well enough. Everyone pay attention.
And then obviously Tyrannus, Sig Semper Tyrannus. Tyrants. Death of tyrants.
Crazy.
That's not what that means. I'm losing myself here with my little.
So you're not, because if you're fucking scared of T-Rexes, wait till you hear about the megalodon shark.
Wait till you hear the megalodon.
Talk about a who's gonna win battle. it can't really applicable because one's on land, one's on sea. But
right, but
the T-Rex has got a big fucking jaw, but it ain't got shit on the 7 to 8 foot jaw of the megalodon shark.
I mean,
That's
we brought this up
fucking
briefly in Megafauna
giant.
because we had to, but
Yeah.
let's dive into it right now.
It's huge. So you get a greyhound-sized bus shark with an 8 foot fucking mouth and teeth that are the size. Each tooth is the size of your hand.
Yeah, and not only does it have, I think it's
That's
like
7 inches.
24 on the top row, 22 on the bottom row. But let's not forget the conveyor belt of teeth that has multiple rows below it that are willing to come right up. And they don't wait their turn; they'll fucking hook on you too. And just like the great white shark, they're serrated. So they're made to just be slicing back and forth. It's not like one big chomp like a modern day cat where it tries to bite down on the spinal cord. This thing grabs any chunk and just starts ripping it to shreds like 40 little saws, but not that little because it's the size of your freaking hand.
Yeah, and similar to the guy getting his pinky bit off while he's fishing that we both seen.
Yes.
Just like that one's a smaller one and grabs on and spins. Just fucking comes right off. It was the video. The video is that guy loses his finger in
so fast
1/100th of a second. He just
as soon as he makes the idea, I should put my hand in the shark's mouth, he regrets it immediately.
Gone. The shark,
and
just
then
spins
all his
gone.
Force of will has to go to him not freaking out in front of all his family because he could have been like, "Oh my god!" But he goes, "Off the damn pinky, fuck." If he was alone, I guarantee you he'd be screaming a lot more and panicking. But he just wanted to be like, "I don't want to freak out in front of my family because I want to be a cool guy."
Yep. And he's not having a good time.
And I'll guarantee you he never got the back because not only is that pinky in the shark's mouth,
it's
about a couple hours to shore and he's not getting it back.
Yeah, he's tourniqueting that a little bit.
Yeah, you're gonna worry about blood loss at that point, not pinky gain.
Yeah, exactly. So that's fucking bummer for him. And then
so picture that, except now you said it's a 6 to 8 foot jaw instead of a 5 to 6 inch jaw a little shark had. And what kind of damage that thing could do? These things used to hunt whales.
Hunt
Megalodon was hunting whales.
Hunt fucking everything crazy.
Just
hunt
animals.
Lammosaurus, swimming fucking brachiosaurs. Like this thing would fuck them all.
It was the apex predator of the ocean.
Yeah, it's a fucking disaster to get in the path of this fucking thing. And
every modern day shark would get its ass kicked. Even the whale shark, which is the biggest shark on the planet, doesn't even have teeth, so that thing's getting its ass kicked easy.
Yeah, weird statistics. Top of my head, human beings eat, I think, about 2,000 pounds of food a year. Sounds like a lot, but also not a lot. It's really hard to figure out. So
it's literally a ton. That's a lot.
Yeah, it sounds about right though. So like consuming we're like 2,000 pounds of shit a year.
Yeah,
it's pretty crazy. The megalodon shark consumed 2,500 pounds of fucking meal.
That was a day, I think. But
a day, okay.
I probably only ate once a day. Didn't have breakfast.
Well, exactly. Yeah, it was a once a day, or
it had to maintain its size. I mean, picture if you only ate like
a lot of fucking food,
1 ounce of food a day, it'd have to be very dense food to be alive because we don't weigh that much. But if we weigh as much as a megalodon, you need to eat a fucking ton of food every day to survive.
Yeah, but it wasn't. I mean, that's not a hard ask at that time, though. Like, you go back to the Bible's days where they're saying, like,
go back to the Bible days.
I'm just saying, first
when they wrote them,
early recorded history, just referencing fishing and Jesus Christ, our Lord and Savior, mentioned fishing a lot. Or he's our Savior, Joe, and he saved
big
us.
On fish metaphors.
He saved us from our sins, and he talked about fishing a lot. And there was always
a fisher of men, as he said often.
There, just like Jeffrey Dahmer.
Exactly.
Yeah. So he mentioned the oceans or the Red Sea, and the fish were jumping out of it a lot. Like back then, the sea was a lot more full of fish. So to be a megalodon and get 2,500 pounds of fish wasn't that hard.
It was, though, because they didn't hunt small schools of fish. They only hunted large prey. So they had to find a big fatty to eat. And if they didn't find it, they weren't going to get it. So unlike modern day sharks, like the tiger shark, which could go over a school of fish or a great white, which could get a mouthful of fish or whatever.
Get a week out of a tire.
This thing is so big, it needed to get like big prey to take it down. Like it couldn't just make like a bear and eat 110 blueberries and be like, okay, I'm getting somewhere. This thing had to eat, as far as we know, maybe it did eat small prey, we don't know, but all the evidence we have is it only went after large prey. So when it was eating, picture like a big cat or whatever, it's not eating like squirrels every day. It's going 2 weeks and it's starving and it's going for that zebra. You're gonna get that big kill.
It's a good move right there. So
plus it was not as agile or quick as those little fish, so it really couldn't like trick them out of it. What it would be
top
doing
speed,
is surprising
though,
it.
Pretty cool. I mean, that thing was probably cruising, so a lot of fin.
The muscle power. The thing probably went fast as hell and powerful. They say that the amount of muscle power it had, it could launch or breach out of the water like 100 feet or something. Like it could clear the entire ocean. The amount of muscle power it had.
Dude, we've gone backwards so far. Like if we didn't fuck this up, like no one knows about the megalodon, but like imagine seeing like just chilling on the beach, like behind you right there, having a Fiddlehead IPA, and then a fucking megalodon breaches the surface. Like
that'd be amazing to see.
People wouldn't get depressed. You'd be like, this is fucking crazy. Like
they wouldn't get depressed and they wouldn't swim.
I'm not sure. If I saw that, surfing would be a little bit more of a concern for me.
I saw that, I wouldn't go in the water at that beach ever again.
Yeah, I'd be like, that's insane. A Greyhound fucking bus just breached the surface, went 100 feet in the air. Let's just be real and say 50 for the moment, which is 5 stories, which is every single place that has been destroyed in Tampa right
Imagine
now.
them dropping a Greyhound bus off of the top of your house into the ocean, and that was just like something you saw that day. Whoops. Huge.
Yeah, exactly. You'd be like, that's fucking ridiculous. And it just literally just goes up to a whale and just bites it in half. Like no breakdown. So it's like the amount of force its jaw has is like crushing a whale, like a blue whale. Blue whale's the biggest whale. What's the biggest whale?
The biggest whale is a blue whale, but I'm not sure how many blue whales it went after. They haven't found a lot of evidence of it hunting blue whales. But yeah, like sperm whales, humpback whale, all that kind of shit, like just giant,
just fucking shit. Yeah, so like giant fucking whales. They
also said that there's some evidence of it ripping off. Like what it would do is that it would bite the tail first, like an RPG hits the back of a helicopter.
Yeah,
and it's like, well, now what are you gonna
spinning
do?
Out of control?
Because it would sneak attack. It would come from the bottom as a lot of sharks do that now, and even sperm whales do it. They go from the bottom so you can't see them, and then after your tail's gone, you're fucked. You can't even swim. Now you're just meat.
Nice, good move, smart. So it would just fuck that whole thing up. But its ability to crush a whale skull is essentially like us eating an apple. It's that easy. Like it's like
you could rip through a freaking SUV with that jaw. Just
no question, easy peasy, lemon squeezy as far as megalodon shark is concerned.
Easy peasy whale skull squeezy.
Yeah, fucking big time, dude. So some people think that the Meg is still around. Every year there's some really weird sighting, and every year there's some giant fucking whale that's got a 7-foot diameter chunk taken out of it.
Mm-hmm. Which is really
massive. The evidence to support
and
this
as big as
is
great
that
whites get and tiger sharks get, none of them have a bite radius that's 7 feet. I mean,
so there's a lot of things.
I don't
be
think
like 1,000
killer
sharks
whales
eating like that.
Don't even have really 7 feet.
No, they don't. So
I mean, they're huge, but 7 feet is. I mean, the jaws of a megalodon are bigger than the jaws of a killer whale, which I think isn't that the biggest predatory fish. It's not even fish.
Yeah.
Predatory sea creature, like has the biggest bite radius.
Yeah. So the reason to think that there might still be a couple of these bad boys out there is that we still, as known in the deep Dylan Joe Basin podcast, Deep Blue episode, world's big holes, right? Deepest holes. The Marianas Trench is pretty fucking deep. We can't possibly know what's going on in all those realms. So we can't necessarily prove that the megalodon doesn't exist right now. And
we also can't prove it does.
Can't prove it does. but we also have
We can
had
prove where it lived, and it didn't
over
live
the
in the Marianas
past
Trench because it couldn't
100
survive down there. But
over the
okay.
past 100 years, we have had a bunch of other shark species that we thought were extinct that died hundreds of millions of years ago that showed up, and they're
Right.
not dead. They never did die.
We
So
didn't even know
especially
they
in
were
the
there.
30s, I forget exactly the extinct species of shark. They found it alive, and it's real. They were big, not megalodon big, but the megalodon might be. We got big body, big brain. So
Well, my favorite ones are the Greenland shark, which his average lifespan is like 200 years. We live up to 350 years. So there is Greenland sharks that exist that have been around since before the United States, and they're still swimming. They're not as big as that, but I mean, you wouldn't even know it's there, and you find this species, you go, how old is this thing? And that's the funny part about sharks is like you can count them like the rings like trees. I found out, which is they'll go into their spinal column and see how long they've been alive to figure out how old they are, because you can't actually ask them, and they don't have IDs. So
yeah, it's true. Yeah.
And that's how old these sharks can get. So yeah, I mean, I would not rule out the possibility that a megalodon still could exist on the planet, but the circumstances in which it lived are no longer feasible. And that's why we think of the great whites as the great predators of the deep, because the megalodon is not around to challenge it any longer, as far as we can see.
Until you see a great white with its fucking tail bit off, which you have seen.
Mm-hmm.
Happen. Some stuff out there.
What do you think did that? You think it was megalodon? You don't think it was another shark?
Could have been megalodon.
Could have been a killer whale or another shark, though, right?
It could have been, yeah.
I mean, if you saw The Rock with a black eye, would you think that there was an 8-foot tall man who punched him?
The Rock, the actor?
Yes.
Sleeping with a black guy.
Must have been Shaq.
Could have been.
No, if you saw something huge get hurt, you don't automatically think, well, something bigger must have hurt it, or else how did it get hurt? The size chart doesn't always work for nature, right? I mean, if a great white shark tail gets bit, some badass thing bit it, but it doesn't necessarily mean that a bigger shark bit it. I mean, a sperm whale is much larger than a great white shark, and a sperm whale is a carnivore, so is a killer whale. And they're both much larger than great white sharks. Doesn't automatically mean a larger shark did it. Sharks and whales don't know about the charts we have of what animals are, so they don't follow.
No, they don't get that. And then also, if you were to take a blue whale, and then you were to, so say the tail section's here, so the last 6 feet to the last 10 feet is the tail, and then you have another pre-mid section that's another 10 feet. You fill it with a bunch of candy. And then the next section is a bunch of bullshit. The next section is the head. So you get like 40 feet of whale here. And then all of the sharks that particularly like that type of candy. So you get like 10 great whites eating that one section of that shark in a pattern to eat all that candy out of that shark. It might look like one giant shark took a giant bite, but it was actually 10 sharks.
Right. That's a good point. Yeah.
So I'm just saying, so yes, there is, hard to really tell.
Yeah.
But and also, why would honestly, why would a megalodon shark just want one bite?
Yeah, I mean, I figure if you got him
2,500 pounds of
if you got him with no tail, I mean, just finish him like you finished so many whales before.
Yeah, and I follow a whole fucking host of sharks on Shark Tracker and Sharktivity. Yes. And you get to see them go missing, because if you're a megalodon, I probably want to eat a great white, because that's a pretty dense good group of food, cartilage, not bones aren't fucking me up, pretty good source of food. So, it's
how cool would that be though if something ate one of the sharks on Shark Tracker, and they're like, the shark's going like 1,000 miles north, and they go to track it down, and there's this big megalodon there because the tracker's still in its belly.
That's a fucking really good point.
That's like what happens in Jurassic Park 3, another movie where the dinosaur eats them, and then they call the satellite phone, it's ringing in its belly, and they're like, oh shit. So it's still active, but
yeah. Right? So yeah, that's a good point.
I don't want any ill will towards Bob, but maybe Bob gets eaten, and you think Bob's off the coast of the Carolinas, but turns out Bob's in the belly of the beast.
the belly of the beast. That'd be cool.
Yeah, real Pinocchio situation.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I don't get the reference right now because it's been a long time since a Pinocchio, but
Pinocchio gets eaten by a whale.
You fucking serious?
Yeah. Him
What?
and Geppetto both get eaten by a whale. Yeah.
By a whale?
Yeah.
Wow, I gotta watch that movie again then. I have no urge to watch this movie at all, but like I forgot that. Wow, that's pretty wild.
Yeah.
So we got I'm thinking speaking of sharks, it's probably time for a quick commercial break.
Yeah, let's do it.
We'll
I think we should get into after this. We should get into shark attacks.
I was thinking too. Let's do it. Yeah. Right.
See you on the other side of the commercial.
Hey, dating can be hard. There's a lot of people out there, a lot of apps. It's hard to really sift through the trash. But when I'm living in my element, deep beneath the seafloor, just hanging out, having a fun time, checking out shells, I start to think of what my real life partner would be. And that's why I've signed into lobstersonly.com. You mate for life. And no matter how hard or soft your shell is, we don't judge you there. A lot of the times people think, what's the market price? I'm not interested in that. What I'm interested is in long-term relationships with crustaceans deep below the seafloor for long periods of time. And the thing is, we keep growing. Not only the fan base, but also our bodies. Within 120 years, we can make it up to 45 to 50 pounds. And that's something special. I don't think it should be thrown away. Ditch the other apps. Lobstersonly.com. Brought to you by the Dylan and Joe Basement Podcast.
So anyways, I tell her that your upbringing doesn't have to directly correlate to your sexuality. Anyways, we're back at the Dylan Joe Basement Podcast. We're talking about
sexual sharks.
Shark attacks.
Shark attacks.
In this segment, we're talking about shark attacks. There's a lot of shark attacks in the history of mankind. And I think I would go over a couple of the most famous ones. I obviously pulled up our main source, Wikipedia, for these shark attacks. I can only think of two famous ones, and they're both on this list. Dylan, did you want to get the list started off, or do you want me to start off the list?
I have a really more specific set of locational shark attacks.
Please.
And none of them are wildly famous like the ones you're mentioning. So I feel like you might want to start off on this one because I'm going to talk about a certain thing because all mine come down to surfing because I'm in the water a lot, surf every week.
I would imagine a lot of
and I have to justify
are directly correlated with surfing.
They are, but
tempting the ocean.
Yeah, but I have to, mitigate risk and figure out what are the chances of this. So I'm gonna let you talk about some famous shark attacks first.
Okay.
And then I'll get into kind of my my little white paper on shark attacks.
Okay. Well, do you know what do you want me to go through the list? There's like 6 of them, or do you want me to stop?
You should just go through your 6 because mine's less of a, I've got a couple I might highlight, but overall it's more of like a genre of shark attacks, less than like just some highlights. You know what I mean?
Hell yeah. Well, yeah. Notable shark attacks, which I think it's funny that they only stick out some of them. I think I should mention beforehand that shark attacks are obviously terrifying and awful, and they're disproportionately blown up on the news and shit. It's like, can you believe this shit happened? But if every time someone had a heart attack, it was covered like a shark attack, you would think that your heart is the scariest thing that ever happened to you. So
exactly,
that being said,
fairly rare. And also, if every time a shark attacked versus sharks attacked humans,
Oh yeah, exactly. This is shark attacks on humans. We should be
this isn't the Daily Seal Report Gazette. Like, oh shit, another group of
The Daily Seal casualty.
7,500 are gone today
It's
in the
Telegraph.
globe.
Message from the front: 20,000 seals casualty today in the Pacific Ocean.
Exactly. The Atlantic Ocean reports another 5,800 up in Norway. Our
a
forces
massacre.
have moved strong, and our mitigation process has begun all the way to Iceland, where we
Hang on,
think there
Iceland,
are no
stop.
strikes, but we have reports of a megalodon shark at 5,800 feet below sea level. Yeah, exactly.
It's moving
So
towards
for-
Nova Scotia. Stop.
So, as most things, when the world feels like it's on fire, the trees don't feel like they're on fire. The seals aren't freaking out. The fucking sand doesn't give a shit. Humans are the thing. It's like, I'm having a bad day. The world's not, though. Whether there's, including when there's war going on, it's usually that there's,
It's whatever's going on with you.
it's the human and you is the issue. So, I just go on about these, please.
Yeah, I'll
learn.
loop back to that during final thoughts.
I know a lot about them. Yeah, right.
Noble shark attacks. We have George Coulthard.
Coulthard?
Yeah, I don't know how to pronounce it, but it's Coulthard. So it could be Coulthard, but I feel like it might be Coulthard.
If he's fancy, he goes by Coulthard.
He was an Australian cricketer, which means he played cricket in the 1800s, and he got shark attack. A lot of these are Australian. A lot of sharks in Australia.
Definitely seriously an Australia thing.
Yeah, Rodney Winston Fox was an American filmmaker and conservationist. So think David Attenborough style guy, Steve Irwin style guy. Shark attack, he's dead. We also have Mathieu Schiller, French bodyboarder, which I guess that means he's like doing body surfing. Again, spending a lot of time in the ocean.
Yeah.
If you spend 3 days in the ocean per year, shark attacks are nearly 0% gonna happen to you. But if you spend every waking moment in the ocean, the rate rises. It's still not 10%, but it's not zero.
Yeah, no offense to bodyboarders, but like they're on boards that are 4 to 5 feet long, so your legs are always exposed.
Gotcha.
Just saying, you don't look like a floating piece of shit. You look like a
wait. So bodyboarding is not you just like use your own body. You go on a surfboard still.
No, that's body surfing.
That's what I'm thinking of.
Body surfing is just like going into a giant wave and swimming fast and trying to use your body.
Yeah, I guess you wouldn't be famous for that. Then. So what's bodyboarding?
Bodyboarding is boogie boarding.
There's professional boogie boarders.
Yeah, they call themselves bodyboarders. So
that's lame.
I
can boogie board.
$200. You get a pretty decent board that's they have fins and stuff, and you instead of standing on it, you boogie board, but you're in swell, so you can go. They're pretty fucking sick as shit.
I'm sure that's the coolest version of boogie boarding, but that's not surfing.
Yeah.
We got Brooke Watson. Oh, now we're going way in the past. British soldier and Lord Mayor of London, which means that at the time, the Lord Mayor of London was killed by a shark. That's pretty notable,
nice.
I guess, just for who
appreciate
it was.
That. Yeah.
I didn't know sharks made their way up there to the old British Isles. Again, Australian, Mick Fanning.
Old Mick Fanning.
Sounds like his family used to be from Ireland. Australian pro surfer, shark attack, murdered.
Boom.
And then obviously, speaking of famous surfers, rather, this is the one I thought of immediately. Her name's Brittany, or not, sorry. I was thinking of Brittany earlier. Bethany, rather. Bethany Hamilton.
Hot name.
Also known in my mind as the Soul Surfer, aka the girl who got her arm bit off by a shark while surfing and then went back to surfing.
Yep.
I mean, I love that mentality. They made a movie about her. She's a total badass, and she's a world pro surfer. She's not just like some girl who's like, I like surfing, it's fun. Like she's a professional. But the fact that she went back, I mean, that takes some balls. I mean, the very idea.
It's scary. Yeah.
It's like being a survivalist, and you're like, yeah, I just like living in the woods, and you get your leg ripped off by a bear. You're like, yeah, I'm still gonna do that. I mean, it's not the bear's fault. It's like I know that, but in my mind, I still wouldn't go back.
Yeah, as someone who broke their arm in half skateboarding and never touched one ever again.
Yeah, even if you went back to the beach,
well, I know that it took absolutely nothing to do this, I fell in my mom's driveway and my arm all of a sudden is
different shapes
poking through the skin, and it looks like a giant V. I will take a pass on this department. Not the risk is not worth the reward for skateboarding. So for her to get back out there and keep doing it,
badass.
It's pretty cool.
I think it's cool as hell. And obviously the likelihood of her getting bitten by a shark again is even less than her getting bitten by a shark one time. I mean, your likelihood of getting bit by a shark is almost zero, and twice is even less than that. So, I mean, statistically, she's not even doing a risky thing, but psychologically, how the fuck could even just smelling the water? Isn't that the last thought you had? It was when the shark ripped your fucking arm off. I mean, you only have one arm now for the rest of your life.
Trauma is sensory, dude. You remember what the air? I mean,
your body teaches you that, so it never happens again, and then you have to overcome that and go right back into it. Every sense is telling you not to do it.
Love that, like, it's like, is it worth it? Was this what
for her?
It's basically, is this the meaning of life getting out there? Which for a lot of surfers it is.
Yeah, it is for her.
But like, it's really...
And honestly, surfing is not easy, and it's definitely not easy if you can only use one arm to balance. I mean, she doesn't use a prosthetic arm. Look at a picture right now. She's just surfs with one arm, so she just has to work her way around.
Yeah, my first thought would be popping up is kind of hard with just one arm.
Her leg muscles must be something else.
Paddling to catch a wave is you don't want to paddle for a lot of time. You want to paddle for a short time, really quick. So it could be a couple seconds. That's
gonna be a tough paddle. You just keep turning left every time.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So like, that's fuck it, good for her. That's crazy.
And then obviously rounding it out with the most famous shark attack case in American history, in world history, in shark history, because we write the books. The USS Indianapolis.
Oh my fucking God. I was wondering what it was going to be, and this all makes sense now. Can you tell us about this? Because this is a crazy, unreal, I can't nightmare.
Believe
one of the biggest nightmares you ever imagine.
Well, I mean, obviously we must have talked about it in our lives before, but the fact that it never came up on the podcast.
It came on the podcast yet. This is really strange. This is the first time it came on the podcast.
Yeah. So I'll do my best. I haven't gone over the whole entire thing again, but I just know it from memory. Is that?
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
Is that this is so you're looking at the time period. This is late in World War II. It's a naval ship. It's supposed to be transporting not the entire thing, but supplies in order to use the nuclear bomb in Japan. That is the mission, to bring over part of these supplies to build the bomb, which is why it gets so horrific, because they are on very low communication. It's like almost zero communication. Like, people in the military can't even know about this mission. Yeah. So you can't be squawking out to everybody in the world. Never mind people in other nations that you're not supposed to be there. Basically, you take your little package, you walk into the woods, you don't tell anyone where you're going or how long you're going to be. And if you break your ankle, no one's looking for you.
Do you know if it was between the West Coast and Hawaii, or Hawaii and Guam?
It's past Hawaii.
So it's between Hawaii and Guam, or between Hawaii and the Marshall Islands, because that's where they took off from. So like, that's fucking insane. So like,
it's more, it's closer to Japan than it is to the United States. Yeah, so it's past Hawaii. Yeah,
well, it's supposed to be Marshall Islands where we would be able to.
Marshall Islands. So which is off the coast of Japan. We're by 1,000 miles or whatever.
Close enough. Yeah. So you have like, exactly.
It's very far away from Japan, but it's close to America. Anyway, so this crew goes out there, and they're, like I said, radio silent the whole way through. You can't even really say if there's any issues. You really can't be squawking out about it. But they get downed. I can't remember how they get down. They got attacked, right, or what?
I don't even know. Honestly, I don't even think they got.
In my mind, they got downed
it might have been a torpedo bomber Japanese, or something like.
Yeah,
like
by Japanese forces. I think they get down by. I got this shit out. I should have looked this up before I looked at it right now.
The USS
Indianapolis, it wasn't a mechanical error. They were sunk.
Yeah, it's important. So like, it was a.
They were torpedoed by a submarine. Japanese submarine. There we
struck on her starboard side by two Type 95 torpedoes.
Yeah, so the Japanese sub saw coming in
by a Japanese submarine I-58, captained by Commander Mokhtasara Hashimoto.
They left him there for dead.
And the reason that he torpedoed it, which is kind of funny, is that he wouldn't have probably taken this opportunity. Besides, okay, so it was going from Guam to the Philippines.
There you
And
go.
so even this is even past what I thought is that he thought that the USS Indianapolis was a New Mexico class battleship, much like the Arizona, which wasn't New Mexico, but it was still like battleships are big deal.
Right, but it wasn't a cargo ship; it was a Navy warship. So they're like, all right, let's light this thing up. So, anyways, they sink.
He thought it was bigger than it was, which is why he decided to use he might have just passed that and said, I'll let them go because it's just some stupid dumb boat. He thought it was an actual
if he would have known what was really on board, he would have
for sure, but he didn't. He just thought it was like some dumb ship because it was the Indianapolis it wasn't small, but it wasn't big, it's 10,000 ton 610 foot ship. It's not that big. Like a destroyer's a lot bigger. Anyways, go on.
So anyways, they sink the thing, and out of all the crew that survives the sinking of a ship, which we know from naval history and all these kind of crazy things, going to be one of the worst ways to go in war is just the entire thing is drowning and you're stuck in this prison cell. But of the people who survived, they had the worst end of the stick. It was better to die with the impact and the drowning because they were stuck in the open ocean for days and they didn't have any contact to anyone to say, here's where we are. We were down by Japanese craft because they said it was such a silent mission that they had very little contact. And that led to one of the most horrific events that I've ever heard about that they probably would have made a movie about by now if they haven't already.
No, I saw it. So there's definitely documentaries that have reenactments in them that are
which is the
really good.
And if you don't
because they're
know
just in the water, just waiting, and then all of a sudden people just get all of a sudden like, hey Joe, all's good over here. Gone.
Yes. I mean,
forever gone.
I obviously cannot do it justice. You guys should look it up. But this is a story that you have heard before, even if you haven't heard it from me. It's the story that Quint tells in the movie Jaws about how he was on the Indianapolis. And he goes, 100 men go into the water, 30 men come out of the water. And it's all about the story where they all have whatever life rafts or whatever they're hanging on to. And that sharks start coming in with all the wounded and all the sick soldiers. And the psychological trauma of hundreds of sharks coming and picking them off one by one. Yeah. And there's nothing you can do about it. All the men who survived will never be the same again. And all those who didn't went through some horrific terror of watching their friends get dehydration, saltwater poisoning, and most of all, open shark attacks in the ocean. Nothing you can do. I mean, I think it was whatever, 70, 80 guys got murdered by sharks, which is the largest shark attack on record because of the feeding frenzy it is. There's never another example of this we ever have records of. And 316 men survived out of the 1,195 on board. So if you didn't go down with the ship, then you were either going to dehydrate and become shark food, or the sharks were going to eat you while you were still alive. And there's even stories, as horrific as it was, of guys who had their legs eaten and they were still alive and they could still talk, but they just couldn't do anything. And all their friends could do is just pray to God and just talk them through it because I can't save you. The world's taking you down. I mean, that's got to be the most brutal shark attack of all time.
Oh yeah, that takes the cake by a long shot. And it wasn't until they were spotted in the open ocean on August 2nd by PV-1 Ventura and a PBY-2 Catalina seaplane from the Navy. And they're like,
so they were like going out scouting and they're like, oh, isn't that ship that was supposed to carry those components to the nuclear bombs we're going to bomb Japan with? Whatever happened to that ship?
God, what a nightmare, dude. And like the reenactments I've seen are just like, you're just like, when it first started happening, they didn't think of sharks and they started to see fins and like, what the hell? Then all of a sudden we're shouting this, and then all of a sudden I just get pulled under the water and never come back.
It's a horror movie writer couldn't do as good of a job as this real thing did.
No way. Yeah, it was a crazy nightmare. So So my thing on shark attacks is something interesting because this comes from a surfer's perspective where I have to consider it, you know. And I was like, all of a sudden they're like, oh, there's a shark off the coast of Wells. Some woman got eaten by a shark in the part of Maine, like
Just recently.
yep, in Booth Bay Harbor last year or the year before that, some woman got eaten by a shark paddleboarding. And
Wow.
Booth Bay is like basically up by Canada. It's very far. Acadia. It's by Acadia.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Way up
Way up
there. So
north.
you're like, sharks don't go up there. I'm like, they fucking do. Go look at
They
your shark
do.
trap right now. They love Prince Edward Island in Nova Scotia. Sharks are always up there.
Yeah, I think, and it'll happen more and more frequently as the
Mhm.
ocean's waters get warmer and warmer. Sharks will go further and further north and south.
They will, but you would think that because they're going for that they would be more in concentration in places like Gloucester, anyone that sticks out a little bit, like
Well, yeah,
but
that's the famous part, but that was, they were in Gloucester in 1976, and now they're in Acadia 2022, and the Earth's warming up. So it's,
yeah.
climate change does affect animals. What's it
Yeah,
affects us?
and they're there. It's just that for sharks, they're not just going to come check out the beach for no reason. They're going to go there because there's seals there. So
They
I
only do
don't
things to
see
eat. Sharks are
exactly.
very
I don't
curious,
see a
like
lot
cats
of
are.
seals when I'm surfing. But anyways, I'm still conscious of like what's up. I'm like, I gotta know. So I started to research things because all of a sudden there's a shark in Nahant or somewhere near where I surf, and I'm a little nervous. So I'm like, all right, well, there's a great white reported, within 5 miles of where I surf. I probably want to know that. Um, so I look at it, but then I was like, you look up like shark attacks in New England, and here's some data that should really help you out if you want to go surfing in New England, is that um, the first documented shark attack in New England, which would be Providence, Newport, well, really Newport, Rhode Island to the tip of Maine, was in 1751 in Massachusetts.
Damn.
And take a wild guess, Joe, since 1751 from Newport, Bristol, that whole tip area, all the way to Maine. Guess how many documented shark attacks there has been from 1751 to
I'm kind of off kilter.
2022.
Yeah, I'm going to give you a kind of shit answer because of the fact that I've also looked into this for the podcast. So in my mind, I would be like 5,000. But because I know a little bit more about it, I'm going to conservatively guess 500.
500 is a wonderful guess, Joe. I appreciate that. The actual answer is 21.
21. I mean, that's it, from 1700s to now. You think it would be like multiple times per year till then.
So when everyone's freaking out about the fact that there's like a billion sharks in the Cape, because there is, since 1751, there's been 21 shark attacks.
That's crazy,
including the Cape Cod. And as far as fatalities go,
they're not all fatal.
Take a wild guess. How many of those 21 were fatal?
Well, now that I hear that, 10.
7. And of those 7, one of them actually happened the past couple of years in Lynn.
Lynn.
Yeah. So.
Oh man.
So like random, yeah, City of Sin, come out the way you go in. So some random stuff. So you go, the chances are unbelievably unlikely that anytime, even if there's a increase in the amount of sharks here,
you're not gonna.
Is this an increase in the amount of sharks? Is this actually happening because of global warming, or is this actually just kind of like just the way
their territory might change relatively,
sort of, but like I know because I'm out there, I've seen a seal one time, and it was just a curious seal. It wasn't just like whatever it was. I was sitting on my board and I was like, that looks like a fucking giant cat, and I was like, holy shit, it's a seal. But if you go to P-Town, where I've also been, there's a fucking ton of seals, and you don't go in that water. So it's a big part of it too. Like,
sure.
The bottom elbow of the Cape that curves up, there's hundreds of sharks a day by those buoys that are about 5 miles off the coast.
Oceanside rather than Bayside.
Exactly. Yeah. So don't swim there. Everyone knows that, so like a big part of it is awareness, but like these shark attacks, those 21 of them have been really interesting, and some interesting stories. Like, so the July 27th, 1751 happened in Bristol, Rhode Island.
Yeah, I know Bristol. That's we rode our bikes.
We sure did, way up there. That was the first documented one, was in Bristol. And then since then, a lot of them happened. And it's just like random shit. Like someone's like swimming to shore from their boat instead of taking the little thing, like, this was one of the first fatal ones, which was reported by the Salem Massachusetts Register, reporting on Scituate, Massachusetts, of a fisherman who was half a mile off a shore, and he was in the fucking water somehow, and a shark was like jumping on and attacking the boat, and he just got sucked underwater and died. So like that's really kind of how most of these went. Like, in another one, Chelsea, Massachusetts, which most people who are on this listen to this podcast, some of them don't, because we're kind of global at this point. I've looked at our listeners.
Yeah, we're global, but this is part of Massachusetts.
Chelsea's like way in there, so it's just north of Boston, like a football throw distance. But it's like it's the Charles River comes in, and a little north of that, it's really inland. And a guy who was duck hunting in Chelsea in 1847.
Duck hunting over here.
In the river there, got attacked by a shark and killed. Like
the river.
So my whole point is that, like, as scared as we are by sharks, which a majority of that fear comes from Jaws, which has been rated the most. Exactly. The scariest horror movie of all time ever, which was based in Cape Cod and filmed in Cape Cod.
It's definitely affected the most people.
Like, holy shit, this is a problem. We got a real human predator here. There's only been 20 shark attacks, which comes down to less than 10 per century.
That's really low.
In 100 years, you're getting less than 10. And of those 10, you're getting like a smaller percentage of fatalities.
It shows you how emotionally based humans are on like scare tactics, because if people told you the amount of people who drowned to death per year, and you were like, oh yeah, I'll go to the beach, it's fine. But they told you there's one or two shark attacks per decade, and you're like, I'm not going in those waters. But it's much more likely you will drown. The water will
for
kill you.
Sure. Yeah, you can drown in bathwater.
Thousands of times more likely you'll drown than the shark attacks. But
at this point, probably
shark
millions,
attack in the beach, you'll never go back there. But if 5 people drown, you go, oh, that won't happen to me. It's like plane crashes against car crashes. I'll drive a car every day of my life, but if I get on a plane, I'm like, oh, this is scary. What's going to happen? Yeah. But plane crashes are like shark attacks. They never happen, but they're terrifying. And car crashes are like drowning. Happens all the fucking time, and no one cares.
Yep, exactly. So that's my thing, is that, like, anytime you think, Australia, a different story. Hawaii's got some shit going on, and then Southern California, Mexico.
It seems like
especially Mexico. Like, if you go to Cabo San Lucas, you probably don't want to go swim in the ocean. They're there, so like.
It's still not that much. There, globally, there was 70 shark attacks last year in the entire planet on record. And of course, there's probably like 4 or 5.
I think a lot of that 70 is like, you just know this is an area you don't fucking swim in because the sharks are here and they're hunting.
Sure.
So like, there's as most things, information is power, and I sound like an idiot, but like. We're not a bunch of like monkeys who are just like dumb and it's a body of water, let's go and it's safe. It's not safe, especially Australia has, in the same fucking ocean, has snakes, box jellyfish, sharks, and fucking crabs will probably cut your head off. Like, it's just somewhere you don't go in the water.
They have the blue ring octopus, where if you got stung by it, it's smaller than your hand, but you will die. There's no
exactly. So there's some areas where, like, if every body of water we treat the same, that number would be increased. We know that there's a lot of places where you just shouldn't surf because you're going to get eaten by a shark or a box ring jellyfish or a you said octopus or a box
Yeah,
jellyfish.
blue man octopus, box jellyfish,
fucking snake, fucking dingoes. Like you just go, yeah, I'm not gonna
Freaking
have a good day
barracuda.
here because it's pretty wild. At barracuda, that's a bad bite. Yeah, that's a big part of it. Is that we've learned like don't go where they're really feeding.
That's true.
So yeah, what do you think of final thoughts for our listeners?
Let's go to final thoughts. Let's go to final thoughts. Dun 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 diddly.
Joe, the Shark Podcast is going to start us off with final shark thoughts. Ready, Joe?
Fish are friends, not food. You're telling me that first by Bruce the Shark from Finding Nemo. What I'm trying to say about sharks is what you've just said. I'm going to go first on final thoughts is that sharks are amazing. They're terrifying. Obviously, I can still watch Jaws tonight. And although I know it's a great motion picture, nearly flawless, the first blockbuster ever made on record. It was before Star Wars, the first movie that made blockbuster a term. Spielberg, amazing. Quinn's performance, Massachusetts shit, so funny. The tiger shark part, a tiger what? It's a great movie. But I'm still scared of sharks. If I ever saw a fin, I wouldn't go in the water. But that's because I use my human brain about it, like we just said, and I figure I'm just as likely to die from a shark attack than if I'm going to die from a blue ring octopus. It's just not true. They are just a part of our earthly environment. It's like shooting wolves. It's like trapping bears or killing tigers. Because of the world we live in now, we're not threatened by these. There are beautiful animals and they're part of the ecosystem. Sharks balance it out like everything else. These fish need to die. We don't need to capture them all in our nets by the 10,000, but it's the predator-prey relationship in nature needs to be balanced out. And if you kill every wolf, it becomes overpopulated with deer. The deer starve to death. They get sick. It's bad for everybody. And sharks are obviously terrifying. I'm never doing the thing where you're swimming with sharks or the shark tank. That's not my thing. I'd much rather do that with other animals that are scary in a cage than sharks because of the whole water thing and I don't know about you. I know that you're okay with it, but the whole bleeding out in the salt water and the drowning part of it, it just freaks me the fuck out. I'm not good with it at all. But all in all, I think sharks are amazing. They're overly hyped up in the news to be terrifying because it gets a lot of views, a lot of clicks. When people get die from a shark attack, it's scary. It's sexy. It's sensational. I mean, I think Jaws is a huge part of that. But ultimately, let the sharks keep on keeping on. They were here long before us. They were here before trees. They were here before Saturn had rings. They were here before dinosaurs. And if they keep this up and we don't put as much plastic in the ocean as there are grains of sand on the beach, or if we don't hunt them all to extinction to put them in our soup to get our dicks hard, then sharks will be here long after us too. And they are crazy, cold-blooded, not actually cold-blooded, but like lifeless eyes, doll's eyes, creepy ass fish who are amazing. And I wish the megalodon was still here so I could see it breach out of that beach. I say sharks are all right. Keep 'em around. Big shark fan. Shark fin. That's all I got to say.
Thanks, Joe. Those are real appropriate final thoughts. You did a great job.
Thank you.
I immediately think that megalodon are still real. I have hope. I have belief. I think there's more to this world than we believe, and it gives me a lot of hope in the morning.
That's on brand for you.
Fucking goddamn hope they're real. Again, I don't know. I'm not trying to say I'm not being conspiracy theorist. I just really hope.
The thing is, they are real. It's just, are they still here?
I hope they're still here. I really fucking do. And I one, really fucking hope they're still here. Two, respect and love sharks. Like I said, if I was gonna go, I think this is it. That's the way that I would have peace with. If you're in the water, it's salty, it's nice, it smells good, it's cold, it's whatever, and you're just gone, no one has to deal with anything, it's fine. Like I think that dying on the pavement on a highway is way stupider. Fuck that. So, yeah. So, or just like, you're just old and whatever it is, like, I don't know, like, it just sounds like it makes sense. Like James Bond, shark, pit, maybe a little scarier, I want to deal with that. But overall, sharks are goddamn, man, what a fucking cool thought. You ever get down, think of a shark. That's what I say. Like they're cool. Like that's a cool thing, dude. They get the fin. They mean business. You see them, they respect immediately. No one goes, "Oh, it's a fucking shark." Fuck it. It's like, no, they're fucking here for a reason.
Lost my damn pinky.
Exactly. Like that guy. Sharks are not fucking around at all. Fucking hammerheads, great whites, basking sharks, even who just eat algae, are fucking huge and cool. Obviously the megalodon's fucking cool, like ultimate A++ predator that just kicks so much fucking ass. And they're just fucking cool. Like I'm big fan of that. Big fan of the shark. Big fan of the shark. So yeah, reach out, respect the sharks, support the shark conservation committees.
I know
watch your pollution.
It sounds kind of gross, but like we
don't
need
throw
to
your
save the
condoms
sharks.
in the ocean is what you're saying.
We need to save them.
Yeah,
and
we do.
They're being overhunted. They have been for hundreds of years.
There's
and
no point.
Actually, a lot of sharks are on the endangered species list, and it's not good. We need them.
Yeah, and there's just no point. Why? What's the fucking point? Like, why
they're not going to hurt you, so like just keep them around.
Yeah, and what I've heard about people who've had shark fin soup, like like Anthony Bourdain, basically, no one I know. It's like bitter, shitty soup. Like fuck that. There's no spiritual healing qualities for eating a shark.
Yeah,
let it live its full life and go fuck yourself. And
it's mumbo jumbo magical bullshit, superstitious crap.
Exactly. And, if you really need to eat shark fin soup, just let your fucking girlfriend piss in your mouth and take a shit in your chest. Okay. So
you'll get more out of it. And
exactly. Like we talked about how fucking weird and fucked up that is, and don't fucking eat sharks. Just find something else fucked up to do, please.
Yeah, please.
We don't want that.
But do swim naked in the ocean. I heard that's pretty fun.
Yeah, and sharks might not say that. And we didn't mention that. So it took me a while to learn this, is that I was like, oh, so if I, cut my finger off, sharks can be 3,000 miles away and smell it. It's like, no, it doesn't. Because I was like, the speed of smell is, one of the comedians mentioned that.
It's how particles travel in the medium.
So eventually those particles will get there, and they'll be able to detect 1 part per billionth of blood and know where the blood is coming from.
But you don't just. It's not like
it's just so diluted that they'll still be able to track it. Exactly. It's not like all of a sudden I shit myself blood and then a shark knows immediately when it's in San Diego and I'm in Tampa Bay.
It's not a beacon.
I thought it was. I was like, so if I immediately just piss blood, they're gonna know this?
No.
Like the second it happens, it's like no. They'll know it in 4 months when the water current brings it over there. They'll be able to track that blood based off of how diluted it is. That's how good their noses are. So.
And I also learned this week that there's a certain chemical that is released in the atmosphere, or like is part of the precipitation in the atmosphere that we can smell as humans. It's the same chemical when it's raining, when it's about to rain or it's raining out. You know how the air smells different.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah. We don't. There's a name for it, but it's like very technical. But I guess that humans in a scientific test are better at detecting that chemical than sharks are to blood. So in some ways we can smell like sharks, but it's only for a certain specific thing. And as sharks are biologically engineered through nature to track that blood, us humans can smell rain in that way too, but not blood.
Well, we need water, so it comes from the desert where it's like, oh, there's water over here because we can smell it. It's pretty cool. I'm cool with that. So on that note, that's the Dylan Joe Basement Pumpkin Spice Shark episode of Shark Week, Shark Day, Shark episode.
2 podcasters go into the water. 2 of them go into an undisclosed location. Only one comes out. Lifeless eyes, doll's eyes. Honor the man. Crush the can. Love the shark. DJ BP.
We'll see you guys next week.
Ocean man, take me by the hand.
mean, I sort of thought I was because my first time, but like, I
Hey, we've all been there. Someone puts something in you, you start bleeding, and you think you're gonna die.
happens every now and then.
Then you wake up and they give you a cookie and they give you.
So I've
their
had
phone
2
number.
parts of a shark attack. I
Like that
ugly,
to the
look
bank.
ugly, fuck hard. That's how it goes.
That's
So
not true for airplanes or for fish, though. Unfortunately.
unfortunately, yeah, look ugly, bomb hard, maybe, but and bomb is a good thing in that department. Not
Yes.
fucking bomb a stand-up improv. Different. So.
And hundreds of million years before it even got on land, and they're like, "This is how it goes in the ocean." Understand?
This is the ultimate playground. So
It's- The ocean is the ultimate playground. Dylan
Yeah.
Reeves, the Dylan and Joe Baseball Podcast. You're first, folks.
your first guy.
There's no spiritual healing qualities for eating a shark.
Yeah,
Let it live its full life and go fuck yourself. And
it's mumbo jumbo magical bullshit. Super
Yeah.
crap.
exactly,
yeah,
if
we
you really
need
need to
to
eat
show-
shark fin soup, just let your fucking girlfriend piss in your mouth and take a shit in your chest, okay?
I know. We should ask the bass.
Fast them out.
I don't know. I mean, like, great episode.
Fast car. The
Hermiton.
after the thing, right? It's named after the World War II use of this thing.
Dude,
They didn't
Panzer-
invent anything called Panzer Tank chocolates, and they were like, "Oh yeah, by the way, it's meth." No, they
Panzer
had
doesn't
meth.
mean tank.
But what's it mean? The Panzer Tank, though, right?
Yeah, that's a type of tank. But
Yeah, what's it mean?
Panzer in German does not. It's not necessarily a tank quality. It's like the Panzer tank was like there's the Tiger tank, which is named after the tiger.
Yeah.
Panzer tank is something else, but it's called Zotter Panzer Chocolate. So like
Yeah, but they named that after the World War II shit, right? They didn't name it.
it has a swastika on it, so so just probably. But
I'm just saying they didn't call it
Let's see,
Panzer
hey.
chocolate, and then I
Uh,
guess we'll use this in a Panzer Tank afterwards. No, the chicken and the egg situation was it was Panzer chocolate was the slang term for meth, and then they called it Panzer chocolate, and now in 2022 they call it Panzer chocolate because people know that means meth, right? I got to be on track with that, even though I know
oh,
it was German.
fuck, dude! Wow, I just
There's
really,
no way it was called Panzer chocolate 50 years before it was used in a tank. I refuse to believe it.
really just really did it good this time. So Panzer, believe it or not, actually means tank. I thought that was like they call
Tank
Panzer
tank.
tanks tank
It's
tank.
called the tank. tank.
Exactly. I thought it was like tiger tank. Panzer.
No, I was on board. I was like,
literally-
that sounds right. That sounds right.
literally means
Tank.
tank. Yeah.
chocolate.
So
Oh yeah, exactly. This is shark attacks on humans. We should be
yeah,
very
this
clear
isn't the
about
Daily Seal Report Gazette.
that.
Like, oh shit, another group of
The Daily Seal casualty.
7,500 are gone today.
Have you or a loved one ever suffered from financial trouble, from loans, medical debt? I think I have a solution for you, and you should listen closely. I think you need cash, a direct influx of capital into your life, whether that be robbing a bank, a loan from a family member that you don't plan to pay back. Fuck.
Is it going? Classic start.
Yeah, when the light's on.
Hey Dom, I'm really trying to get my finances in order, and I think everything's all set and good to go. Like I'm basically all set until I die, but that's my worry. After I pass away, my casket's gonna rot, and no one's gonna do repairs to it. So I was thinking about getting full premium casket insurance, so that even beyond my death, it'll stay nice and preem with that marble finish.
You're talking casket insurance through Theodore Plast,
Yes.
the leading casket renovations in the country.
Are they leading in the country?
In the country, been around since 1924.
Wow.
You know, they made a killing in World War II.
Oh my God. I mean, when 9/11 happened, they were like ding, ching, 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 ching.
And the thing about
Oops, all money.
Theodore Plasky, Jewish.
Oh, that's good for the pod. Jewish. Tiger, what?